Supreme Court has spoken. The oracles, sitting high above all, they look down and they say, nay, we will not stop this. And so the TikTok ban will go into effect on Sunday. And some of you are going, wow, TikTok's silly. It's let me tell you guys something. There has not been any social media, any area, maybe in history, that has had an effect on society the way that TikTok has. I don't think people realize that. You know, if you're older and you're not on it, it doesn't mean it's just a bunch of kids dancing. It's not. And the Chinese can spy on us. They're already spying on us, right? Like, I mean, we already know that, right? What did I say the other day? If you've got a shirt, it was made in China, it's probably spying on you. That's the reality. And while everybody's looking at the, hey, you know what? They could do the backdoor this, or they could get into that, and they could, the security here, there. Let's not forget, government came up with this ban, right? So they all got together and said, we should probably not have this on phones. We shouldn't have this here. And everybody was like, yeah. Then there was pushback. And then Trump, by the way, who kind of vowed to save the thing, used it in a way that helped him. All of a sudden, now everybody's like, well, we shouldn't really want to get rid of it. It's too late now. Like, the ship left the harbor. We're not getting it back. So we're going to have to figure something out. But why it matters is not whether or not they're spying on us and getting our data. They've done that for years. They're going to continue to. It's a Trojan horse. They've got all of that stuff. It's the other stuff that you need to pay attention to, that nobody else does. And that other stuff is the algorithm, how they use it. So their version of TikTok is pro-China. Their version of TikTok is pro-Mao, pro-Xi. Their version of TikTok is pro-education. When kids look at their TikTok over there, which is not called TikTok, and by the way, there's a limited time. It actually times itself out. All they see are videos about great engineering feats and kids, Tiger Mom stuff, kids playing the violin and all that stuff. It is not a thing that we do, which is a giant succubus of time. Yes, sir.
If you are a gamer in China, the games are required to have a limit on how long you can play in a given day. That's the kind of people we're dealing with here. They tell you how much you can play a video game.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. And why this matters is because I walked in here today. All salespeople downstairs that were here. We're talking about TikTok going away. It is that big of a story. Because the average person may watch a bit of the inauguration. They'll pay a little bit of attention, as we all know, to politics. Not as much as a lot of you listening right now. But they're all on TikTok. There's 170 million downloads in America. It blows Twitter away. It absolutely decimates Twitter. Only Facebook has more users. And that's because Facebook gets to be in India. Because TikTok doesn't. They banned TikTok. Man, they got a lot of China and India. They're not pals. But it's what it does. When the war kicked off between Palestine and the Israelis, 8-1, I think, was the ratio of positive Palestinian or sympathetic Palestinian videos. It fueled what is going on in the colleges and the demonstration. It was a massive, massive fueling of that. Our founders, right? So the founding fathers, they never once worried about whether or not we were going to be invaded, right? We got the top hat. How's it going, Canada? We're not worried about that. We've got Mexico. We're not worried about that. And we've got 2 giant bodies of water. And everybody's armed. So come at your risk. But they did worry about us destroying ourselves from the inside. And TikTok gives you that opportunity to see what it looks like slowly but surely. It's propaganda, the big issue, not security. They're spying on us in everything. If you've got a TV, they're spying on us. And it's Chinese made. I had to get a new camera. So I got a camera, because I do stuff on, check out Chad Benson Show TV on the YouTube. When I go into my room sometimes, my camera's on. My computer's asleep. It's not on anything that should be filming. And I'm like, okay, I can't have this. But it's an American thing, but it was manufactured in China. They're trying to find everything they can about everything. But it's about us. How can they use us against us to weaken us? That's what it's about. Too many people are focusing on things that, it's like a magician, right? He's doing some over here. Look at the other hand, because that's where the magic is happening.
The justices explain at length how a law like this one meets a significant government interest of protecting the United States national security for a number of concerns over Chinese collection of Americans' data and also their alleged use of the platform to spread propaganda in the United States.
Because that's what it is. It's propaganda. It's the little things. It's the little things that they can do to weaken us. It's the little things that they can do to chip away, to get us against each other, to get the kids thinking in a different way, to talk about social justice, to elevate the greatness of other places and to talk about how evil America is. And it's not just us. Everywhere is having this issues. The Brits are everywhere is having issues like that because they're able to use it because of the algorithm. And I talk about this more and more because I've studied this for a while. That algorithm is a closely guarded secret. It is a military secret. It is not a secret like you'd say, well, this is corporate, right? Corporate spying. No, it's not that. Because they understand. And they feed the things that they need to feed. And that's what makes them dangerous. On the other side of it, it's not all bad. It's done great things for small businesses. It's brought people together. It's done a lot of things. And most of it is fun. But when I hear people say it's about the First Amendment, it's not about the First Amendment. When I hear people, because you know what? You have other places you can go. You can go to YouTube. You can go to Instagram, Snapchat. You can go, hell, I don't even know if they have MySpace. You can go there. You might be the only one there, but why not, right? You can go to Facebook. There are other places to join the conversation, if you will, in the square. But when it comes to this, everybody's always trying to figure out, well, how are they sneaking in? How are they spying us? They're spying on us in every way, shape, or form. You don't think they're looking at our streams? You don't think they're looking at everything that everybody does? My God, how many times do we hear at least once or twice a month? Water plant's been hacked. A facility for power's been hacked. This phone company's been hacked. That phone. They're always doing something. As are we, by the way, because that's what we should be doing. If we're not, we need to figure that out. But they understand because they don't allow our stuff there. Because they understand our stuff would show a different side of the world of freedom. Our stuff would show a different side of the world that is a daily thing. Not just like where people don't buy the propaganda. Oh, it's Disneyland, it's fun. It's the day-to-day thing that is so dangerous to them. So when you think about TikTok, don't think about they've got a Trojan horse back into something. Because how many things? You got Temu? Oh, yeah. If you've got this app, you've got that app. How many apps are Chinese-based? Plenty of them. But this is different because of the sway it has on society, the things it can do in culture, which is massive.
By this decision, the Supreme Court effectively says that this law can stand and the ban against TikTok can go into effect on Sunday unless the parent company ByteDance, that's the Chinese-owned company, sells its stake to any other buyer that is not a foreign adversary of the United States. And there's, of course, a lot of swirling headlines about the possibilities there, but the Supreme Court definitively saying that this law can stand and a ban can go forward.
And remember, the politicians put it in place. And if there was a group of young people out there, or even old people who had the wits about them to go, let's figure out how we can recreate something like this and push it, it'd be awesome. But that isn't happening right now. And on top of that, Elon is enemy number one to a lot of the young people because of his relationship with Trump. Zuckerberg is now enemy number two because of his relationship with Trump. The other two big beasts in the room when it comes to technology, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play this out and to see what Trump does. Because remember, Trump wants to save this thing. Okay, so what do? You make sure that nobody who's got a phone who works for any government official or any government whatsoever, whether it's a local, right, state, federal, you can't have it. But what do you do about the other parts? Which is the one that I'm worried about, which is the pushing of the propaganda, the pushing of the stuff that's out there. And let me tell you something. I enjoy TikTok. It's fun. Man, Belle and I were sitting there watching a bunch of crap earlier. It is fun. It's entertaining. It's also a giant succubus of time, like you could not believe. So we'll talk about more about this, a bunch of other stuff. We got some of your texts coming in about it as well. Somebody goes, do you think it's bigger than MySpace ever was? MySpace, remember before MySpace, there was Friendster. So nobody ever talks about Friendster. It is culturally, as far as influential, there is very few things that even come close to how big TikTok is and the influence it has. That's how big this thing is. So when everybody's, we're all going to talk about the inauguration, we're going to talk about some political stuff. The reality is the rest of the world that we're dealing with daily, where you're driving down the street, you're going to get something to eat at the supermarket or the restaurant or this, that, and the other. A vast majority of those people are worried, wonder what's going to happen to TikTok. Do you think it's going to be saved? Do you think Elon's going to buy it? That's how big it is. It's in so many parts of our lives. For some of you listening, you don't quite understand it. But for others, I think you understand, because maybe you have a kid or a grandkid and you realize they've been asking questions about it. A lot of stuff to get to today. Now, I just want to get this right. There was breaking news. Something happened with donuts
How do you not know this?
Because I do radio.
Dude, this is a big deal. This is like a national emergency level deal where 4% of Dunkin' Donuts have no donuts today.
Okay, so how did no donuts happen? Do we have any idea?
Issues in their supply chain getting dough to the proper places, and now we've got, like Albuquerque, New Mexico. Sorry, no Dunkin' for you. No donuts at all. Zero. Don't even bother looking.
So you basically tell everybody, you know what the hole looks like? That's what your donut looks like.
That's exactly what it is.
Now, how I'm trying to figure out how that, because don't they make their donuts there?
Some places do. They actually have production centers. There used to be one out in East Nashville when I lived there back in the 80s and the 90s on Gallatin Road.
Yeah.
But if you can't get the product to the place that makes them, that send them out to the other places, then you've got no donuts. And, I just, TikTok, whatever. Donuts, come on, man. Well, this is my life.
I get donuts. And by the way, usually Donut Friday. I haven't found my donut shop here yet. I'm still looking, though. So if you got any suggestions, text away. A lot of stuff to get to, some inauguration stuff, a bunch of other stuff. Happy Friday, everybody. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Bulwark Capital. I want you to call my buddy Zach Abraham, Chief Investment Officer at Bulwark Capital. Talk about your retirement. Everybody says, we got a plan. I'm going to do this or that. And then you're thinking, do you really have a plan set up that way? Or you may have that in your mind, but does the person you're working with have that in their mind? Are they active management? Because that's important. See, you need somebody that's not going to be a cookie cutter. So they're going to give you a second opinion, a risk review. They're going to go through your all of your portfolio, give it back to you with where they think you may be lacking in some, or maybe you're overextended in certain areas that could harm you, and talk to you about what they do. Risk management, lower risk, lower cost, lower volatility. Doesn't cost you anything, doesn't hurt. A second opinion from them is great. Worst case scenario is you learn something. Call 866-779-RISK today for Bulwark Capital, 866-779-RISK, or go to knowyourriskradio.com. KNOW, yourriskradio.com. Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisor. Investments involve risk and not a guarantee. Past performance not guarantee future results. Trek 24378.
Changes for Inauguration Day prayers and speeches, and CNN is on the losing end of another defamation lawsuit. We'll tell you about it at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Was it as much as what Fox paid?
I don't know.
Fox paid, what'd they pay? It's ridiculous, right?
800 million?
Yeah, it was like 800 million.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot. I don't know if this is going to be that much.
So,
because the plaintiff in this is claiming that he lost wages. So I don't know if it'll go to that much.
Okay. All right, then. We'll look at that. I saw they were getting their butts kicked in court. It was pretty. You could tell by the look on the faces of some of their attorneys, like, this isn't going well.
Yeah.
We should have settled. This was not a smart idea. It's expensive. By the way, attorneys, you're paying your attorney to sue. It's not like they're going, oh, if we win, I'll take some.
Right.
It costs some money. So that's why most people don't sue. And in America, it is really hard to sue for liability, for defamation and libel, for slander and stuff. That's why when you see stars sue, they sue in a place like Britain. If the story goes out, because they know it's a much easier path there than here. Because you go and look up, the Inquirer went for decades without ever even coming close to losing. Then they did. But that'll happen once in a while. But goodness me. Crazy, man, crazy. Got to watch what you say, kids.
Got to be careful, man.
Absolutely. Especially, what was it? Remember the Covington kids or what those?
Yeah, the kids from Kentucky.
Kentucky, where they were yelling at, them and they're, they were playing the drum in front of that kid's face, and they ended up costing them a bunch of money because they all went online and on TV and hammered them. And they didn't know anything about them.
Right.
Because it's about the shock of it all.
Right.
I'm going to get out there and say something horrible about those kids. I'm like, oh, God, get over yourself. It's going to be cold.
Well, in just 3 days, Donald Trump will again take the oath of office, becoming the 47th president of the United States. But the festivities here in Washington begin this weekend. Trump kicking things off with a fireworks celebration, a cabinet reception, and a big rally on Sunday to fire up his supporters. It comes, of course, as Washington is now gearing up for this change in leadership. And President Biden is now preparing to transfer power back over to the man he once defeated.
That's awesome. It's going to happen on Monday. So what did you guys figure out with the wind chill? It's going to be probably like 10, 12?
Maybe lower. Ooh. Because the high is not expected to get to 20.
Because we're going to be freezing.
Yeah, we're going to be freezing too. Like the United States under this Arctic vortex, I guess that's what they're calling it.
Yeah.
Everybody will be at least 20 degrees below average. Some places 40 degrees below.
That is cold.
Yeah.
Because I saw that we were going to be, I think, Monday, like 25 or 22 is the high and 10 is the low.
Yeah.
I thought, ooh. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not going. I mean, I'm stoked for Brian, and we're going to have him on all day Monday. And I'm going to give him the show, have fun, rock and roll, tell us what's going on, whatever's happening out there. But
we're going to be warm and toasty in our studios.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's going to be nice, right? It's going to be nice. And I know you guys, I heard you guys talking. People go to football games. Well, Buffalo and Wisconsin people go to games.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
One thing I don't think anybody's considered is the last time we sent Brian to D.C.,
I heard.
The country almost ended.
Yeah.
So maybe we look and see if any of that was his fault.
I'll double check. I asked him the other day when I spoke to him, and I'm like, dude, are you can do anything? Or like, would you think about getting squirrely if it's boring? I mean, have you thought about it? So we'll see. But now I don't know where he's going to be compared to,
right?
Like, because that's just it. I mean, and you got to think about it. If you've planned your family trip for whatever reason to go out there and do this, stand in the cold, which I wouldn't do anywhere, but for anything,
no.
If you've done that, now you're kind of missing a lot of the fun. You can see the parade and stuff, but how long are there going to be any speeches? If they're going to be indoors. Well,
they're all going to be indoors.
See, so you made the trip for what? Nothing. Not a thing. All right, coming up. Because really, kids, can I just say this? All that matters is what happens after he's sworn in. You could have a great inauguration and then suck the rest of the way. You could have an okay one in the cold and be awesome. And that's what we're hoping for. A lot of stuff still to get to today, a bunch of stuff, including, could bacon cause dementia? Man, they're trying to
No,
take.
there's the answer to that question. It does not cause dementia.
I said that too, but I'm going to throw something at you, Bill, and I want you guys to ask. I want you to answer this question serious because I know what most people answer is. I want to see how you guys line up. We'll do that straight ahead. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
$12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Let's check out the situation for you drivers out there. Right now, Montgomery County, we've still got that crash blocking 24 eastbound before MLK Parkway. That is going to be a 25-minute delay. In Pegram, they have just cleared that crash. 40 eastbound past McCrory Lane. Things should be getting back up to speed there. Back here downtown on the South Loop going westbound, there is road work blocking the left lane at 2nd Avenue. We're heading into the deep freeze. Got the full forecast coming up in 4 minutes. Monday in D.C., Inauguration Day is expected to be the coldest in 40 years when it was 7 degrees. President-elect Trump says he has ordered his inauguration address, prayers, and other speeches inside the U.S. Capitol Rotunda Monday. After the swearing in, Trump says he will then join the crowd outside for the presidential parade. All other events will remain the same, including the victory rally at Capital One Arena. CNN is on the losing end of another defamation lawsuit. A jury finding CNN committed defamation against U.S. Navy veteran Zachary Young and is responsible for punitive damages, awarding $4 million in lost earnings, $1 in personal damage, such as pain and suffering, and said that the punitive damages are warranted against CNN. So lawyers on each side are going to have a chance to present evidence to determine that. Young alleged that CNN smeared him during a November 11th, 2021 segment that first aired on The Lead with Jake Tapper, implying that he illegally profited when helping people flee Afghanistan on the black market during the Biden administration's military withdrawal from the country in 2021. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
So Monday, it's happening. Everything's moving around, right? He's going to be indoors. He's an elderly fellow. Let's be honest. He's about 80, right? And you want to make sure he's healthy. And we've had a president who gave a speech out there in a very cold day without his jacket on. Next thing you know, he dies a few months later. So we don't want that.
It was Buchanan? No, it wasn't Buchanan.
Was it? It was what?
Was it Tyler?
It wasn't.
Now I got to look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
Because it's going to drive me
Buchanan,
nuts.
But it might have been. See, we were talking about it earlier. Now we forgot. But yeah, I mean, he got essentially sick. And boom, next thing you know.
William Henry Harrison.
Yeah, Harrison. How long? He didn't live too long after that, right? I mean, he was sick. He got really sick. And
He
went fast.
served from March 4th to April 4th of 1841.
There you go.
Good job, Henry.
Don't worry, we'll give you a plaque.
Probably the best president ever because you didn't have time to screw anything up.
Didn't have time to screw anything up. And back then, you know what? People back then, they probably still don't even know he died. That's how fast the news moved back then. So that being said, you do have to protect the president. And we saw this really cool piece last night about the things they're doing to protect the inauguration. Because you need to make sure everybody, not just the dignitaries, is absolutely protected.
From only 150 feet in the air, pilots dodge buildings.
And tower on your left side. Got it.
Flying in a grid over the National Mall to scan for radiological or nuclear irregularities, threats like dirty bombs.
So you're trying to create a blueprint of what the radiation in Washington, D.C. looks like ahead of the inauguration. Correct.
Department of Energy scientist Jacqueline Brandon calls this low-flying helicopter one of just two of its kind her office.
If we find a radiological irregularity, we'll investigate it even further.
Highly sensitive technology sets off alarms in the air.
That's an alarm.
That is an alarm. It's a slight variation in our spectra is what it's saying.
So they're looking for dirty bombs. They're looking for things that, it's one of those things because you've got to be on super high alert. It's not just the president, which you should be on double, triple high alert. And we know because he's already had two, not one, but two assassination attempts. But you've got every dignitary you can think of. Some from all over the globe, even the vice president of China. Xi's second in charge is coming, which is a rare thing. So you've got to make sure everything is buttoned down. Now, you can't avoid the weather. That's why they're moving inside to avoid the weather as much as possible. But you've got, my thing was, when I was watching some of this, I thought, even if you went and you were excited, how far away are you going to be? It's 250,000 tickets have been given out. And God knows how far away. It's, I guess it's an event for some people. I think they should hold this in like maybe April, something a little bit warmer.
On the ground, a mission led and meticulously rehearsed by the U.S. Secret Service at their training facility in Maryland. Agents role-playing worst-case scenarios.
Can we try a vehicle having a flat tire? Can we try someone having a heart attack? These are all the things we want to mentally prepare for because we have an immediate action for all those things.
Michael Thomas is the coordinator for the big day.
The amount of fencing and the amount of personnel that we bring in for this inauguration eclipses all other inaugurations that we have.
Think about that. Eclipses everything. And it's interesting when I hear people talk out there about the worry that something's going to happen. Like Trump's going to get his people to attack the Capitol again. And you're like, are you being serious? Are you worried about others showing up and attacking? Are you worried that Trump's going to order attack on his own Capitol now that he's president? I'm trying to figure out what you're worried about. You're worried about a lot of things. I wouldn't worry about those two. Are there going to be protesters? There's protesters everywhere. Every protest I've ever gone to, there's always one person, too, walking around with a free Tibet sign, no matter what the protest is. There'll be protesters everywhere. Do I think they're going to clash? Probably not. Although the cold is a great equalizer of stuff like this, where people just go, you know what? I can protest him in May, right? We could do that. Of course, they're worried about other things. Remember how close things get to hurting us, we never really know because for all the stuff we talk about, our FBI and all of our, intelligence agencies, the reality is that, man, how many of those things do they catch before? Because you only hear about them when bad things happen. So you've got more fencing than ever before. You've got so many guards, including the National Guards.
About 25,000 law enforcement and military personnel will safeguard the inauguration, including 7,800 National Guard authorized to protect the nation's capital and its 250,000 ticketed guests. Throughout the city, a ring of steel, 30 miles of anti-scale fencing. And along the icy Potomac, more than 25 Coast Guard vessels lined up, ready to deploy.
Ready to deploy.
Wait a minute. The Coast Guard's got something to do? That's right. The Coast Guard is there. And that seems weird. Well, yeah, if you were going to attack from the sky, it's probably going to be a little tough. From the ground, But from the water, well, that would be where I would go.
Captain Patrick Burkett says teams are now prepping frozen waterways for patrol after a recent storm.
That put a lot of strain and stress on our resources and our personnel, and everyone knew that January was going to be a busy month.
Dubbed a national special security event demanding the highest level of federal protection, the inauguration comes just days after two others, January 6th electoral count and former President Jimmy Carter's funeral.
I'm not quite sure how much. Well, I mean, anytime there's presidents, there's always going to be security, but you had them all in the same room. But this is going to be, this is a huge, massive undertaking because 250,000 people weren't there for January 6th. 250,000 weren't there for Carter. There will be that many, potentially. I think the weather's going to change a lot. As Ken's been reporting, they're going to be indoors for the ceremonies now. And it sounds like they're still going to do the parade, but the rest of the activities look like they're going to be indoors at this moment in time. I think you can go to the Capitol Center. Is that what it is? The Cap Center? I don't know. It's where the Capitals play, I think.
Capital One Arena.
Okay, and then you can watch it from there, or you could just stay home and watch it. That's always a good thing, too. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Trump.
It's not like we haven't seen this before, people.
Yeah, I know. I know some people are excited. I care about what happens in the presidency.
That's what's important. I mean, this is literally a necessary formality.
I've been to a lot of great weddings that ended in divorce, and I've been to a couple crappy, hilarious weddings, and the people are still happy. It's not about that day. It's about the outcome over the next 4 years. That's the only thing that matters. And really, over the next year and a half. Because if Trump's got to get everything going in such a way that when the thought, because remember, lost the midterms, can't afford to lose the midterms, razor thin in the House, and you've got more seats up for grab in the Senate. You cannot afford to lose the midterms because otherwise you're going to spend 2 years fending off attacks and more Adam Schiff baloney. You just don't want that. And then not getting anything done. So that's why the first 100 days is important. That first year is the most important of his presidency because that will set up everything from there on out. Speaking of Trump, will he or won't he? Josh Hawley.
President Trump, under the law, can delay any implementation for 90 days with the stroke of a pen. The law permits that. I would expect he'd probably do that in order to facilitate further discussions about a sale.
That's TikTok. Now, the law does permit 90 days, but there's a caveat. It has to be currently in the sale part of it. So somebody's already had to have started to move forward with the sale. I don't think anybody has. There's been some discussions, but the question is, what's it worth? So Elon overpaid for Twitter. That was $40 billion. This is 1,000 times bigger than Twitter. I would say, so when I talked to my buddy, you were talking about Zach Abraham, the guy from Bulwark, he and I were going over it last night, what it would look like. If you IPO'd it, he thinks it's about $400 to $500 billion if you IPO'd it. That's massive. The issue with the sale.
Well, that puts it in at least the top 20 companies in the world, doesn't it?
Absolutely. 100%. The issue with the sale, though, is, so if let's just say Elon wants it, and the reason they, I believe, are curious about Elon and would be willing is because Elon has a close relationship with Beijing. The manufacturing and stuff he does over there, he understands the relationship of trade, and they understand him. So that's one of the reasons that they would listen to him. Some of the other people, they're not, Mr. Beast, God, brother, I love you. That'd be awesome to see what that would look like. But we're talking billions that you're going to have to pony up. And here's the other thing.
I think Beast could actually get the investors, though.
I think it depends on how much.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's 100% true. But I think that just because of what he has shown his abilities on social media to be, they would be falling all over themselves to sell it to him.
Yeah, if you guys don't know who Mr. Beast is, he is not just a YouTuber. He's
biggest social media star ever.
Ever. See how many followers he has across all of his things. So his name is Jimmy Donaldson. And he does unique things. He's just really cool. And he's just kind of a little bit of a dork, kind of. But the amount of, we're talking 100+ million followers.
Just on his YouTube channel, he has 344 million subscribers. He has a third of a billion subscribers just on YouTube.
He has got virtually the same amount of citizens in our country as he is on his YouTube. And you know what he started doing a few years ago that was brilliant? He started taking his videos and he would transcribe them, and then he would get them dubbed into different languages. And he would go to places like Mexico and Spain, and he would hire very big actors to do all the parts.
Taylor Swift's YouTube channel, 60.5 million subscribers.
Yeah.
So he decimates her numbers.
It's huge, massive. I think he could put together a bid, but you got to have the right people. But the other side of it is, when you go and do something like this, you're going to have to unwind all of the moving parts of who owns what. And I think what they don't want everybody to see is how many Communist Party leaders have a good portion of ByteDance and other parts of this. And I think they're a little hesitant, rightly so, if that's your goal, is to make sure that nobody knows, to allow people to take a peek. And even at that point, even if Elon could buy it, are you getting the real algorithm? Because that's the only thing that matters. You don't get that real algorithm and you get whatever they decide to put in there. It's that algorithm. For whatever reason, it works in such a way that other places are having a tough time duplicating. And that's a serious, problem with why the competitors haven't found a way to break in when it comes to TikTok. A lot of stuff still to come. We're going to talk about bacon straight ahead because I got questions for these two here about the bacon.
There is no questions when it comes to bacon, only feeding.
Yeah, only eating. How much and how long.
Thank you, sir.
I agree 100%, but I'm being told by professionals and experts that this may not be good for us. So we'll talk about that.
You think you know somebody that's a professional expert on bacon more than I am?
Well, you're a professional at eating it. You're not a professional at studying what happens to the body after.
I've lost over 50 pounds in the last year, and you're calling me fat in front of our listeners.
I didn't call you fat. I'm just letting you know. And this has nothing to do with weight, by the way. But it has something to do with your brain when it comes to bacon. Because bacon's yummy. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com. Go there now. Use code CHAD. When you do, kids, you're going to get a free bag of Rough Greens. Jumpstart trial bag. It is $20 value. Absolutely free. You just cover the cost of shipping. Now, what is it? Well, it's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all of this stuff. It's powder formula you put on top of your dog, and now with Meow Greens, your cat's food. And it's going to help them in so many ways, with their energy levels, with their skin, their fur. It's going to help with their aches and pains in their joints. It's amazing. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to change anything with your animal's food. Just one scoop and let them go. They're going to love the taste. You'll love what it does for them. All you have to do is cover the cost of shipping. If you're like me and you love your animals, you want them healthy, this is going to help them big time. Jumpstart trial bag, absolutely free. All it costs you now is shipping. That's it. Go to ruffgreens.com. Use code CHAD. That's ruffgreens.com. Use code CHAD for Rough Greens. Ruffgreens.com. Use code CHAD.
All right, drivers still have 24 eastbound a slow go. They're in Clarksville because of a crash. They're still working. It's right before MLK Parkway exit 11. Stop and go starts at Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Here on the South Loop downtown, road work blocking the left lane, 40 westbound at 2nd Avenue. Inauguration Day changes announced by the president-elect due to bitter cold weather. That's coming up at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Could some of your favorite breakfast staples be detrimental to your brain health? A new study published in the journal Neurology says people who eat more processed red meat have a higher chance of developing dementia. The study's author, Dr. Daniel Wen, told CBS News,
"We've found very consistent evidence that higher processed red meat intake is associated with higher risk of dementia."
Dementia.
Shenanigans! Shenanigans!
That's right. Shenanigans. Hey, guys, you guys want to call shenanigans? Yes, shenanigans. So here's my question to you two meat eaters.
Alrighty.
If they told you you couldn't eat bacon the rest of your life, but you get to live to be 80, healthy, or you can eat bacon, but you're gone at 75, what are you doing?
What are they going to try to take away from me next? The companionship of a fine woman?
Well, you don't have to worry about that.
Shut up.
I'm working on the robot, dude. I can only do so much.
Oh, burn. All right, I'm out. See you guys later.
So 75, you eat bacon, or 80, and you're healthy, and you get to that.
Bacon.
Bell's gone bacon.
Bacon.
Well, you might as well, right? You're not having...
Well, let's face it. If you're going to split the difference between 75 and 80, those are still crappy years that you're wearing an adult diaper in anyway.
No pun intended.
There you go.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're going to get dementia for the last 3 years, but you're going to live to be pretty healthy all the way up until you're 80, maybe die in your sleep kind of thing, it's 5 years.
All I can tell you is I'm not doing anything without bacon.
All right, that's the way. But here's one of the things they did say. Uncured is much better.
Why? Because of the sugar content?
Yeah, probably.
Huh.
Well, I mean, it's like, who knows what they put in? They pump our stuff.
Well, yeah, it's not like it was in the 1880s when they were smoking meat and curing hams and stuff like that. There's so many, going back to yesterday's discussion, how many chemicals do we have in the stuff they use to smoke the meats?
I know. I mean, I joked about, I was trying to read that the little drink I drink, the little energy drink, and I can't even, you got to have an engineering degree to get through half of these terms.
What's it called? What's it called? Ghost?
Ghost.
Because that's what it makes you?
No, it makes you good, man. I tell you what, I don't normally like these. I love Celsius, but man, it's like crack cocaine.
We got to get you some Deltas.
What's a Delta?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. I don't know.
Brother Chad's a teetotaler.
Yeah.
I know. That's the thing. That's why I won't tell him.
See, he's trying to do stuff to me. Trying to get me hooked on drugs. That's the way he works. I know who you are, Bale. By the way, a lot of people are chiming in saying 80. 80. You know what? If you have kids, I bet you look at it in a different way. And grandkids.
Yeah.
Because having those 5 years, that's awesome.
Yeah. Especially if they're a good quality 5 years.
Yeah. I'm not talking about like you get to 75 and you can't move and you drool and stuff. I'm talking about you live a good quality, may fall asleep and, and just never wake up.
Well, let's not forget, it's important to remember that men die earlier than women because they want to.
Yeah. Well, I'm giving you an extra few years on top of that.
And, if it came down to it, I could switch over to turkey bacon.
Yeah, there you go. Turkey bacon.
That is the most offensive thing I've ever heard come out of your mouth on this radio station.
Only if you're a turkey.
Turkey bacon?
Sir. I've never had turkey bacon.
Oh, it's good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Don't tell.
I mean, it's, you don't get the fat and the grease I really like. But yeah, man, I mean.
It's good. It's relative to not having bacon.
Right,
it's good.
Right.
All right. So we understand that there. So that's it, kids. We're helping you. We do healthy things every day here. That's what I do. A lot of stuff to come up. Next hour, we're going to try something new that I think you guys will enjoy. Bunch of stuff to talk about. Inauguration, more on TikTok. If you're missing the show, we say... Shame.
Shame, shame, shame. You should have known.
1 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Tracking some deep freeze weather for Middle Tennessee, just like it's going to be on Monday in D.C. Karen Travers says it's going to be the coldest inauguration in 40 years, with temperatures expected to be in the 20s. Teens, with wind chills in the teens and single digits.
President-elect Trump writes in a social media post that he doesn't want to see people hurt or injured in any way with a forecast Monday that could be the coldest for an inauguration in 40 years. He writes, "It is dangerous conditions for tens of thousands of law enforcement, first responders, police canines, and even horses, and hundreds of thousands of supporters that will be outside for many hours." Trump says Capital One Arena in D.C. will be open for a live viewing of the inauguration and will also host the presidential parade. He says he'll join his supporters there after the swearing-in ceremony.
Well, the lawyer for TikTok says the app could go dark on Sunday now that the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled to uphold that law requiring a sale of the app from China-owned ByteDance. Thousands of Palestinians anxiously awaiting for the beginning of this weekend's ceasefire agreement. Here's Ian Pannell in Tel Aviv.
War-ravaged Gaza, a ceasefire can't come soon enough. Israeli airstrikes raining down on the Strip since the agreement was announced, killing more than 100, according to the Hamas-run health authority.
Federal authorities in this country investigating crimes committed or contemplated against Tennessee houses of worship just a few miles apart. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
Security footage from the First Apostolic Church in North Nashville shows a person setting fire to the trash bins outside early yesterday.
We are very blessed that it didn't get on the inside of the building,
says Pastor DJ Shoulders. As the search continues for that arsonist, federal officials are holding a man accused of threatening to attack a mosque a few miles away. Christian or Muslim, says Sabina Moyadeen.
We need to be more vigilant in times like these.
California wildfires update, Mr. Alex Stone.
What a very different situation it is here today. It's like Mother Nature is fighting the fires in Pacific Palisades, 90% humidity, 84% in Altadena. Earlier this week and last, it was 7% humidity. The winds have gone back to the more normal onshore flow coming from the ocean heading inland, but it's not going to last long. By Sunday night, the Santa Ana flow blowing from the desert out toward the ocean, dry and explosive winds will come back again, and fire danger will skyrocket again.
American Express will pay $230 million to settle federal allegations of deceptive marketing and record keeping. The Justice Department says the company used false financial data like dummy employer identification numbers on small business credit card applications from 2014 to 2017. From 2018 to 2021, American Express falsely claimed wire transfer fees were tax deductible. It says it ended the practices years ago and fired 200 employees after an internal review. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
TikTok, what will happen to the tick and the tock? I think something will get done. I just don't know what it looks like. And I said it last hour. It's not hyperbole. There have been very few things that have moved as many people as far as like apps or social media like TikTok, if any.
Now that the Supreme Court's ruled on this too, or basically said they weren't going to take the case, that changes the dynamic now too, because
Absolutely.
you have a decision that has been made that allows this law to go forward.
9-0, by the way. This was not it was 6-3, 5-4, 9-0. And if you
That's
go
as unpartisan as it gets.
Yes. Because it's a law. See, we forget that these guys and gals decided that they wanted to do this, and Trump started it, right? Like Trump and so many politicians were like, we got to get rid of this. These people are spying on us, the whole 9 yards. So they went and did it. And now it's like the plane left, right? And it's at that point where you get to a certain point when you're flying where you can't turn around because you've exhausted your fuel, so you got to go forward. Because you'd be surprised to find out they put just enough fuel in planes to get to where they're going.
You know, it's really weird. I've never had a plane pull over for gas when I've been on them.
No, they don't do that much. So it's over with now, kind of, sort of. So the question is, what happens from here? That's a great question. Everybody's like, well, Trump can go and he could sign an executive order. Well, that's only if, according to the law, they're already in a sales cycle. So somebody's trying to purchase it. Now, I'm going to throw it out there. I said last hour what it would cost. Several other people that are very smart in the world of finance have said, if you want to buy it, just the app, 40 to 50 billion. If you want the algorithm, you got to pay another 200 billion. So that's what you want. I don't care about the app. You can design an app. I want the algorithm. That's the thing that matters most. So the question is, what happens? Because I think a lot of people are like, today I got asked this several times, by the way. When I went to the liquor store, on the way here, people were asking, when I got here, like, what happens on Sundays? Like, does it just disappear?
TikTok had been arguing that this law violated the free speech rights, not only of TikTok itself, but also several individual creators who also challenged this law. But the Supreme Court rejected those arguments, instead siding with the Biden administration.
Biden, who's also...
Did they actually reject it, or did they just refuse to hear it?
No, they didn't. They said it was constitutional, it was legal,
because
and they weren't going to stop it.
Because it addressed national security.
It addressed national security. So I want you to understand that they're coming at it in a different way. This is never a free speech case because there are other places to go for free speech. This is national security. And in a moment, I'll tell you why they're looking at it wrong when it comes to national security.
So the way this law is designed, it would prevent places like Apple and Google, these app stores and other service providers, from providing their services to TikTok. So it would ban Apple and Google from, for example, offering TikTok on their app stores. They couldn't provide updates to the app. But the law does not specifically tell TikTok it has to, shut down completely. If you already have TikTok downloaded on your phone, the law would not mandate that it automatically just disappears as of Sunday. Now, TikTok has been claiming that this is a doomsday scenario and that they're effectively going to have to shut down all U.S. operations. Now, we'll see, of course, after that decision changes, whether the trajectory changes. The government here had been effectively accusing TikTok of playing a game of chicken, and they said, once the Supreme Court comes out with this ruling, maybe TikTok will reverse course.
And now the ball's in their court. They don't want it to go away for nothing. Now, India banned TikTok, and it just essentially disappeared. How it would work here is if you've downloaded, it's still there. Your videos you did are still there. Your videos that you've saved or you've liked, whatever's on there, it's still there. No new uploads, and the bugs will eventually get it. So these things are updated all the time, and eventually what ends up happening is it starts not to work. The bugs go sideways. They haven't fired anybody. They haven't laid anybody off. Now it's the negotiation time. And that's going to be interesting on how any of that would even happen negotiation-wise. Because here's the thing. Let's say people like Elon buys it. Well, Elon That's going to be an issue because, you've got, they're going to look and go, wait a minute, does this guy have some sort of monopoly now on certain things? Are we going to look at that? Are we going to allow him to purchase that? But who's got the money to buy it that wants to buy it? Because remember, the algorithm's the most important thing. And then you've got the other side of it, which is if you're Apple and you're Google, are you feeling lucky? Because they said they're not going to enforce it. Both Biden said he's not going to enforce it on Sunday or Monday morning, and Trump says he's not going to enforce the ban at all. So they could leave it on the App Store, and you could still download it. The issue becomes they can fine you $5,000 per person, which adds up to a lot of people. But what about the security? It's not about the security. And I continue to remind people the security side of things, it sounds great, but the reality is China is spying on us all the time. I expect them to. I also expect us to spy on them as well. The issue is what it does to us. It divides us. It not like Twitter is a place where you go argue politics and you fight with people and people call you names. They allow a little bit more, on and you're seeing more of it on TikTok than before because the user face is easy. But what you're finding is how they can influence, how they can push things forward, how they can do things that you don't realize is happening. And then you get people who are going mad, angry. They're looking for their alternatives. Why? Because they want this and they don't realize what's happening. Our founding fathers worried about what happens on the inside. They don't worry about us being attacked. We got the Pacific. We've got the Atlantic. We have the Gulf of America. We've got Mexico. We've got Canada. But inside is the fear that there could be a cancer that spreads that divides us in such a way that it tears this country apart far worse than I think people realize. And everybody maybe thought, well, that was a civil war. This is what they're thinking.
The government has been lying to us about China for decades. Now that we've all gotten on Red Note and we can see the lifestyle that all of the Chinese people have, a lot of us Americans are pissed. The price of going out to eat, the price of groceries, public transportation, and the people on Red Note are so flabbergasted that we have to work 2 jobs just to keep our roof over our head. U.S. government, you up big time, which is not a surprise because you do it constantly. Even if TikTok gets banned, I've seen enough. I have been woken up.
She has been woken up. Why is that? She looks around. She goes, China looks amazing.
I grew up fed propaganda that China is evil and that they treat their citizens like shit. American culture, American society is toxic, gross, poisonous. They poison our food. They jack the prices up of everything. We don't get health care. We don't get good public transportation, even though we're all on the same continent. We destroy the planet for money, power, and control. Our government is funky as on the left and on the right. This is a class war, and I will not be giving this fight up.
This is the issue. What's happening and how it can spread things. What you saw on college campuses last year with the protest of Palestine and Israel, I think it was 8-1 for pro-Palestinian over Israel. It spreads. It takes off like never before. If you guys remember the Arab Spring, how it all kind of started to, with Libya and stuff, and that was social media. That was nothing like what this thing can do. And the propaganda that can get out there. While everybody's trying to focus on, they could have a Trojan, the backdoor Trojan horse kind of thing. They're figuring that out now. They're trying it just like we're trying it with them. But while they're doing that, their other hand is influencing in a major way. And that's the thing that you need to pay attention to. And most people don't, because they're going, oh my God, it's the security this, the security that. Telling you guys, I see it every day because I've got young kids. And by the way, it's fun. I'm not going to lie to you. It's fun. It's a time, man. It's a time waster. And some of you out there, maybe you got reels on your Instagram or you're watching shorts on YouTube. It's a succubus. But the amount of people you can reach and the entertainment that's on there, some of it is stupid. And theirs isn't not just about dividing us. It's also about wasting our time. But that's on us. You go and look at, what they do in China and how they promote their stuff, which they don't allow any of our stuff over there. You can't even be on, there's no LinkedIn anymore. They said, we're done with it here. There's no Facebook. None of that stuff. They don't allow it because they understand the power of what these things can do. They understand that. Militaries may be able to take over countries, but movements will change them.
Well, in just 3 days, Donald Trump will again take the oath of office, becoming the 47th president of the United States. But the festivities here in Washington begin this weekend. Trump kicking things off with a fireworks celebration, a cabinet reception, and a big rally on Sunday to fire up his supporters. It comes, of course, as Washington is now gearing up for this change in leadership. And President Biden is now preparing to transfer power back over to the man he once defeated.
When you hear that, it's what separates us from everywhere else. We are seeing something that is amazing. And by the way, you'll be seeing it indoors because if you guys are listening, have been paying attention, it's going to be rather chilly here. It's going to be really chilly there. Wind chill, I think Ken said right around, 10, maybe less?
Single digits, brother.
Single digits. That is chilly. So they're moving everything into where? To the rotunda?
Capitol Rotunda.
And so that's where he's going to be sworn in. That is where they're going to give their speeches from there, too. Is it only going to be dignitaries in there? Are you going to allow...
Yeah, he's going to move the dignitary. Everybody who needs to be there will be inside the Capitol Rotunda. That's where the speeches will be.
This is when you find out how much political cachet you have. If you're indoors, you're doing all right. If you're outdoors, you're literally outdoors.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So... but we're passing power, the greatest power of all, the leader of the free world. We're passing it from one to another. No shots fired. But what about January 6th? Get over it, for God's sakes. And by the way, January 6th was not, Trump didn't stay past the 20th. He left. So there you go. That's the beauty of us. It's what separates us from the people who run the TikTok world. People who indoctrinate, who don't allow their people to have free speech. That's what separates us, is that. That's why we've got to hold on to it. But understand that while we're, everybody's like excited about the inauguration and this, that, and the other, that this is something that is like way bigger than what's going to happen on Monday because they use it every single day. They use it every single day. Some people use it for business. A lot of people use it for pleasure and fun and recipes and stuff like that. And they don't live in a world of politics. And so that influence is far greater than people realize. And that's why we should pay attention to stuff like that, because I think a lot of people don't. And you know what? You go out, you talk to your friends, you talk to your kids and stuff. They're asking questions about TikTok. I've gotten more questions about TikTok in the last 2 weeks from people I didn't think were on TikTok because they wanted to know. People, friends my age, not asking for their kids, for themselves. Dude, is it going away? Because they love it. That's the kind of influence this thing can have, and also the addiction it brings with us. A lot of stuff still to get to this hour. Super Bowl, we got the odds, but the commercials. Man, when I was younger, 10 years ago, we used to watch the commercials on the Super Bowl. Now, they've got trailers for the commercials, and in some cases, you can watch the commercials. What the hell's going on? I'm curious about that. We'll talk about that. Bunch of other stuff. It's the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Raycon, best earbuds around. I love my Raycons. I wear them all the time. They're incredible. The fit, the feel, the comfort, the sound quality is awesome. I'm telling you guys, I do a lot of stuff with audio, from audiobooks to editing stuff and sound for, not just my shows, but the cartoon stuff I do. And it's amazing to have something that doesn't hurt my ears and gives me a sound quality that is second to none at a price that's not going to break your bank. Right now, you can get your Raycon, save 15% with a 30-day happiness guarantee. These things are built to last, weather and sweat resistant, multi-connectivity, active noise cancellation. I can go on and on. There's so many things about these that are amazing. Get your Raycons now. Save an extra 15% site-wide with a 30-day happiness guarantee. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. It's buyraycon.com/Chad. For the best earbuds around, the everyday earbuds from Raycon, buyraycon.com/Chad.
Still got a crash here on the South Loop downtown westbound at 2nd Avenue. Wait a minute, that's not a crash. Sorry about that. That's just road work blocking the left lane. Now, we do have a crash 40 westbound near Spence Lane, and then 65 northbound just past Rosa Parks Boulevard. You got a crash blocking the right shoulder. TikTok! Hear what a Republican U.S. Senator says he expects President-elect Trump to do, and the CDC recommending doctors fast-track additional testing for bird flu. Coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Bird flu?
Bird flu.
A lot of flus out there. They're calling it the quademic.
Yeah, the quademic.
There's a quademic going on out there. So, COVID? Flu?
Yeah, COVID, flu, norovirus, and RSV.
Okay, that's the bird flu. So, okay, there we go. That's a lot. That's a quad. I know that.
That's a whole bunch, dude.
Mason, I think Mason was sick. I think he might have had the norovirus.
He had the norovirus.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. I haven't had that in a long time.
Normally, you only get that when you're on a cruise ship because nothing says fun like being stuck on a boat with a bunch of people who can't stop crapping their pants.
Exactly. I mean, that's fun.
Man, when something happens on a boat, for whatever reason, everybody gets it.
Yeah. Well, you go on the cruise and, there's constantly food available.
Yeah.
So, and everybody's going back and forth. So
the last time I cruised up to Alaska. It was awesome, right? So if you guys are going to go to Alaska, go the last week of August, first week of September. It's the best time to go. I didn't eat. I ordered everything and had it brought to my room.
There you go.
I did not. I'm like, I'm not going to the Petri dish buffet of evil. No. Right, little Jimmy over there's got his finger in his nose, right? Like Sally's over there, she's thrown up, but she just thought it was something. The ship that made her sick, sick. And the next thing, everybody's, no. I have it sent to me. And then if everybody gets sick, I'm the only one on the deck.
Yep.
Just walking around.
All to yourself,
All
dude.
to myself. Man, hey, guys, I'm helping you out with vacation. The California wildfires are raging. And Josh Altman, who is one of the guys, him and his twin brother on $1 Million Listing, I think it was TMZ that caught him and asked him about, what's going on.
This is hard to say. I strongly believe that 50% of the people who lived in the Palisades are not going to be moving back to the Palisades. People who are moving to Brentwood, Santa Monica, Bel Air, Beverly Hills, those are going to be the markets that are going to go up because people want to be as close to normalcy as possible.
Yeah.
And those are those towns right around the Palisades.
Yeah.
Those are going to go up, that market. That's where they're going to move.
They're not moving back. They're talking about, so think about this, and he pointed out as well, and again, TMZ caught him out, but he's been all over. He was on with Cuomo last night, a couple other places. Think about if you've got a kid in first grade and your house is burned down. So it's going to be 4 or 5 years before you get back in your house potentially. Even if they cut the red tape, you're not counting on the fact that they've got limited, first of all, they're not good at their job. It takes forever. It's archaic the way they do things. And they've got a limited staff. So you're going to be in line, and then getting the stuff is going to be extremely almost impossible to get the stuff you need in a timely fashion and to get people to build it in a timely fashion. All that being said, you're thinking 4 or 5 years? So what are you going to do with your kid for 4 or 5 years? Their school may burn down. Now you've moved somewhere else, and you're not going to move back because your kid's now and your life is established over here. So people have they're just trying to figure out what to do. I'm hearing Newport Beach is just, people are flocking there. It's beautiful, by the way. I used to live in Newport Beach, man. It's one of those places you're like, this is an enclave of fun. But the other side of it is people are already starting to make bids for the dirt, and people are starting to sell their dirt because they know they are not going to have a chance to build. And to build back the way that they were because of so if your house was valued at $4 million, remember, it's property looking at the ocean kind of thing, or in an area close to the ocean, close to Los Angeles, close to Hollywood, close to other things, your little plot of land. Well, to rebuild the house that you had it, you can only build to 110% of the value. Well, good luck with that. Because with the cost of material, the cost of, even if it's cutting through the red tape, the cost of permitting, the cost of the workers and everything, you're not going to be able to afford it. So people are going to dump this stuff, and they're already trying to crack down because they're already saying people are coming in and essentially saying pennies on the dollar for some people. But if you're desperate, right, you don't have a choice. Because what are you going to do? Because you may not have the money to live in a hotel for the next 4 years. Which, you know what? That's probably not as fun as you think it is unless you got the penthouse. That's what I'm trying to tell you, kids. Coming up on the Chad Benson Show, kids, we're going to do some fun. Super Bowl. This is insane. About the commercials. Why are they already playing the commercials? That's part of the fun of the commercials. Wait to hear what they cost as well. And one company, as we speak of the California fires, somebody already texted me about it, has said, yeah, you know what? Can we have our money back? We're going to cancel our commercial. We'll talk about that as well. It's the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7.
$1:30 on the dot I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 5 minutes. Tell you about the deep freeze that we're getting ready to go into this weekend. TikTok's lawyer says the app could go dark on Sunday now that the U.S. Supreme Court decided today to uphold the ban unless the platform's Chinese owner divests. But Republican Senator Josh Hawley told reporters today
President Trump, under the law, can delay any implementation for 90 days with the stroke of a pen. The law permits that. I would expect he'd probably do that in order to facilitate further discussions about a sale.
See what happens Monday after the swearing in. And the CDC's recommending doctors fast-track additional testing for bird flu. Dave Packer.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention trying to get a handle on the number of potential cases of bird flu. ABC News contributor Dr. Alok Patel.
They want doctors to do subtyping to look to see if patients have seasonal influenza or potentially bird flu.
Of concern, potential exposure to wild or farm animals. Advice?
Avoid coming in contact with potentially sick animals such as cattle, wild birds. And if you have any questions or suspicion you may have bird flu, it's good to go and talk to a doctor and get tested.
American Express is going to pony up hundreds of millions of dollars in penalties for deceptive practices targeting small businesses. And President-elect Trump says he is moving Inauguration Day prayers and speeches and is swearing in inside the U.S. Capitol Rotunda on Monday because of freezing temperatures in the 20s and teens and single-digit wind chills in D.C. Trump said he'll join everyone outside for the parade, and the rally at Capital One Arena will still go on. Let's check in with Alex Stone in California. He's got a story of survival in the Los Angeles wildfires.
Walt Butler is 83 years old. His home of 60 years in Altadena is gone. He escaped with embers raining down on him.
If I don't outrun it, it's going to get me. Me getting away from the fire, it shouldn't have happened.
Butler is known to many in town as a heart and soul of Altadena. A GoFundMe for him has raised nearly $1 million. Butler says he's ready to rebuild and help his neighbors.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Let me tell you something. United Structural Systems, you're going to want to call them if you've thought maybe something's going wrong, right? Like maybe you got a leak and it happened, like the pipe burst, but you're not quite sure it's a little one. Don't let it be a big one, right? Don't let it go and destroy things. Cause rot and mold and nastiness. Because the next thing you know, something that could have been small becomes something too big. And United Structural Systems is there to help. And it's awesome because they're going to come out, they're going to do inspections absolutely free. All right. They're not going to sell you any unnecessary repairs, try to upsell you or any of that stuff and the crazy stuff. It's not what they're about. 30 years in business and 30,000 happy customers. Call them today as a just in case. Let's take a look at the foundation. What do we got going on over here? It's always about being smart. 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, or online at ussatn.com.
It's going to be cold in D.C.
President-elect Trump's inauguration will be moving indoors Monday due to the cold weather expected in Washington, D.C. That's according to sources with knowledge of the inauguration planning. Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance are now expected to be sworn in inside the Capitol Rotunda instead of outside on a platform. Monday's inauguration will be the coldest in 40 years. Temperatures are expected to be in the 20s and teens, with wind chills in the teens and single digits.
That's why we send Brian out there.
You want to quit? Fine. We'll see how it works
What you
out
want to do?
for you.
Good luck to you, man. Have fun. Brian's going to be inside. I just don't know where he's going to be.
Well,
Wouldn't it be funny if he was supposed to be in the rotunda?
I'm pretty sure he's already up there. I think he landed earlier this morning.
Yeah, we should probably text him and say, dude, how cold is it? Where are you going to be? Maybe we'll do that here in a little bit. But we're going to have it all day long. So Brian's going to be on everybody's shows. He's going to start with Dan. We're going to carry everything. And we're working, from what I understand, on a picture-in-picture. So if you're watching us on the YouTube TV, Twitch, whatever else we've got going on out there, it'll be a picture-in-picture. So, you guys can watch it as it goes, and I'm sure we'll be describing something. Look at it. There he is. He's going to put his hand on the Quran. No, I'm just kidding. On the Bible, then he goes, and then we all move on.
Well, the only reason they're really moving, and it's the true story, is that he knows he's not going to have anybody show up for his inauguration, so he's trying to make it look like there's still a lot of people.
Yeah, I heard that. That was spectacular.
I love the stupid comments.
Or that they know that somebody's going to try to kill him that day, at that moment in time.
Biden?
No, all of them.
No, I mean, Biden. You think Biden will try to kill him?
No. The only person who would be in real danger isn't showing up, because the woman that's with the current president, I think, would go after her like there's no tomorrow. She would turn it into the Real Housewives of D.C. I'm 100%. She would rip her wig right off. Kick over her walker. She can't. Jill. We're talking about Dr. Jill versus Nancy Pelosi. So you got the football game then on Monday night, which I'm more excited about, I have to be honest with you, than the inauguration. Not because I care about what happens afterwards. I care about that. So a lot of the pomp and I'm not a big pomp and circumstance guy. I've never been that way. I don't do flash. It's not my thing. So, but I am excited for the football game, right? This is the first game that we've seen where it's like they've played through the tournament, if you will, and now they're meeting. But then we've got the Super Bowl coming up. Now, the Super Bowl for us is a lot of things. Everybody loves to watch the game, obviously. That's a big deal. Right now, the Detroit Lions are the favorites. The halftime show. Everybody gets excited about the halftime show. But then the water cooler on Monday, when we used to do that, because everybody went to the office, one of the things they talk about is what? The commercials. The commercials. Now, it used to be a mystery. We'd hear I heard this is going to happen on the commercial. I heard this celebrity's in a commercial. I heard this. It's not that way anymore. It's not. Now, first, let's start with a commercial that was going to be on and wasn't going to be on. Last year was the most popular commercial with Donald. This year, they were going to do something, but decided, nah.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Cut. State Farm has just announced it's pulled its new Super Bowl commercial due to the devastating Los Angeles fires. Last year's commercial was a huge hit with viewers, featuring actors Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger, who plays an insurance agent saving pets from a family's home that's going up in flames.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Today, State Farm announced, our focus is firmly on providing support to the people of Los Angeles. We will not be advertising during the game as originally planned.
They dropped 72,000 people last year in and around the area of Southern California and some of the affected areas. So they just decided, we're going to read the room, and America hates us and blames us partially for the fire, even though we didn't start it or anything. So we're gonna punt on this, and we'd like our money back. Now, the commercials, some of them are already out, which drives me crazy. Drives me absolutely crazy. But there's previews. They have trailers for commercials now. Why you dunking me, girl? Why you dunking? By the way, Dunkin' Donut, remind everybody today what happened, Bell?
4% of Dunkin' Donuts had no donuts to serve because of supply chain issues, and it started apparently in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where they were just, if you want some coffee, that's fine. If you want Dunkin' Donuts, too bad for you.
There you go. Too bad for you, huh?
Every Super Bowl comes with supersized ads. And this year, some major players are going all in, hoping to score big with viewers. Doritos, bringing back its famous Crash the Super Bowl contest, crowdsourcing ideas from the public.
What do we think about the commercials?
Personally, I like the one with the chip.
Insightful.
I think they all had chips.
Got it. With one of these 3 finalists now set to receive $1 million payout for the winning ad. Companies like FanDuel also teasing ahead to the big game with some trusted fan favorites, setting the stage for Manning versus Manning.
The FanDuel kick of Destiny 3 is my destiny, Peyton. You and I both know this.
Not if I make it first.
While others, like Pringles and GoDaddy, are keeping fans guessing.
So there's a lot of stuff going on commercial-wise, and I'm always fascinated because, you hear TV's dead, and in ways, the way that TV used to be is absolutely dead. It's just, sports is the king, and it's live, and it's one of the few things we all do together because we don't delay it because we have instantaneous access, and nobody's going to watch something when they already know the result. Even if I was in it. I know the result. I don't want to watch it, but it's great, but I don't care. I was there. So the commercials, though, were always like, I loved it. I loved the whole thing, It's and for my wife, and she gets all excited. She's like, I've seen some of these commercials already. It takes the fun out of it.
So many of these commercials, they're treated like movies. We get the trailer and then we get the actual commercial.
Why are these spots so coveted year after year?
The NFL is just so popular. They have cast such a wide net. Yes, Taylor certainly has helped with that, no question. It's rare that we have an event like this where pretty much everybody is watching.
The demand for airtime during this year's game, unprecedented. Fox reportedly selling out all ad slots for Super Bowl 59 in November. A 30-second spot going for a whopping $7 million.
That's just the cover price. The budgets end up being really similar to like a small movie.
But for so many companies, the steep price is well worth the investment. Anheuser-Busch, known for its quintessential beer commercials, says it's returning to the Super Bowl this year with 5 different ads, running a total of 3 minutes.
3 minutes of ads. So they're spending $35 million, not counting buying the ads themselves. It's good money. And part of it isn't just about because half of these commercials are going to be movies coming up. Because why? Because Fox has it. Fox owns what? Movie company. So they're going to want to pump their stuff out to make sure that everybody sees it.
Actually, they don't own their entertainment assets anymore. Disney bought them.
That's right. Disney bought them. And then, or did they buy Disney?
No, Disney bought them.
Disney bought them. Well, it's still, it's all.
It was almost, I'm almost positive it was a cash deal for like $44 billion.
It's good money if you can get it.
Yeah.
You could almost buy TikTok without the algorithm. So
you could buy Twitter.
You could buy Twitter, and he could make $4 billion off of it. But that's why you buy it. You buy it because you're gonna promote the hell out of all your shows, right? And then the other, count how many Fox celebrities you're gonna see. Hey, there's so-and-so coming up on The Fun Guys, right? So-and-so starts in The Fun Guys. There's Belle and Chad. They start in Opposites Attract, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. That's what you're paying for.
Also hoping to see green, newcomers like Ritz and Duracell, both entering the stadium for the first time with highly anticipated ads. Though most commercials still remain tightly under wraps, experts say to expect major star power and ensemble casts, a winning formula behind some of last year's most popular ads, like Uber Eats.
Remember when you used to be a pepper lady?
Wasn't it the Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes?
And Hellmann's.
You lasted longer than most.
Returning brands like Reese's, already giving fans a glimpse of their Super Bowl spot, promising to deliver another unforgettable comedic experience that'll have people buzzing on the big day.
And people talking about it the next day. All of us have a commercial we remember. It's like, oh, what about this commercial? Or, they always talk about if you can make somebody's, like a little tear, if you will, if you can make people go, oh. But everybody's got a fun commercial that they remember from back in the day, going way back in the day. Remember when it was cheap? You can buy one for like $1 million, $7 million now. And the cost? Ooh. But if you're lucky enough to get one, you're going to have about 145 to 150 million people watching your ad. And what that can do for your company is huge. And that's why they do it. There wouldn't be $7 million ads if somebody didn't want to pay $7 million because they value it. And the slot to have is the first commercial in the game and the first commercial going into halftime and the first commercial coming out after halftime. Those are the things you want. That's where you're going to get the most bang for your $7 million right there. Several people chiming in. By the way, the whole turkey bacon thing, I didn't know that was going to cause such a stir.
Ken.
I know. Ken is, my God, I don't know what the hell he was thinking.
People upset about turkey bacon?
Yeah. No. People are upset about you claiming turkey bacon was good.
I like it.
Do we need to go to the list?
I gobble it up.
Well, if the choice, because I said earlier, if you guys weren't here, they're talking about bacon, cured meats in particular, bacon itself, causing, potentially being a cause of giving you more of a chance to have dementia. And I said, if you guys had a chance to live to 80 and be super healthy and just kind of pass away in your sleep, or you can eat bacon and you die at 75, but you may have dementia for a couple of years. Belle, who will never know the love of a good woman, and said, I'm going to go right away into bacon because the quicker I get this over with, the better it's going to be. Where Ken and I have the love of a good woman, and we decided, hey, we'd like to be around a little longer.
You know what? Ken, are you paying attention? Keith said turkey bacon would be good after some Delta 8 maybe. And then we also had 1949. It's not bacon.
Oh, I know. I know it's not bacon.
So why are we calling it bacon?
Now, I mean, I'm not going to stop eating bacon, but if in a pinch, I definitely eat turkey bacon.
But the problem is that they're looking at your statement about turkey bacon and going, Ken is wrong.
Well, they think you're a communist.
They do.
They do. I mean, most of them pretty much are sure that it's deep state has taken over Ken's life.
Though, in fairness here, 0727, any bacon is better than no bacon.
To quote a famous Russian from the 80s, I must break you.
Oh, Drago. Who also happened to be Swedish.
Yeah.
There was that, too. To quote a famous Russian who happened to be a Swedish engineer kickboxer, I will break you.
I must break you.
Fantastic. Coming up, folks, a lot of stuff still to get to today. Maybe a little bit more on TikTok. We got a bunch of other crap. They found something, two things, like that people are super curious about. Belle will love one of them. And the other one, I can't wait to see and read because I want to find out what the hell was going through this person's head at the time. Arguably the most evil person in the world. Talk about that straight ahead. Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7. Speaking of the Super Bowl, playoffs are here. Prize Picks wants you to be a part of it. And I want you too. I play it every day. I set my lineup. It's easy. Anybody can do it. You don't have to know a lot about sports. You may just like it. But Chad, I don't like to bet. No. This is fantasy. And it's basically more or less. That's what you're going with. So this weekend, I'm looking and I'm going, all right, I think Goff is going to have a game against the likes of Philadelphia. So what do I think? I think in his game, and I think he's going to throw for at least 250 yards. Do I think it's more or less? I think it's more. I think Barkley playing the Rams, I think he's going to have a game. Big time. Against them. And I think he's going to go over 100 yards. So I set my lineup. I go more than 100, more than 250. It's that simple. And away it goes. You can win up to 1,000 times your money with Prize Picks. Now, here's the beauty of it. You download the Prize Picks app. You go, what's the code? Chad. Boom, you put it in there. What ends up happening? The minute you play your first $5, they're going to give you an extra free $50 right away. So you can bet away. It is that simple. Go, set your lineup, play your first $5. After you use code Chad, you get $50 instantly. It's awesome. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Right now, we've got the left two lanes blocked, 40 westbound after Spence Lane due to a crash. Another one, 65 northbound just past Rosa Parks Boulevard. That's blocking the right shoulder. And we still have this road work westbound South Loop downtown blocking the left lane. What's going to happen to TikTok on Sunday? Well, Americans are speaking out, and a Republican U.S. Senator mentions what President Trump is likely to do. That's coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The great dynasties, including Tom Brady and the Patriots, you have to be in that conversation. But it hasn't started yet.
Don't listen to Joy, y'all. Started.
I mean, you can talk nonsense if you want to. It's a free country for a couple more days.
That right there is Joy Taylor, smoking hot, by the way. Talking today, joking around that, it's just a free country for a couple more days. Because then Trump comes in and, man, I told the guys, everybody else is excited because Trump's going to be president. You know what I'm excited about? All the women we get it. Did you guys get your nets yet to go catch all the women?
Really?
Yeah. Didn't you guys get those? I can't wait. So I got a net and it's great. So from what I understand, what I've been told by women is their lives are over. They're back into the basement, and they're going to just make babies and cook us dinner. And we're allowed to go catch as many as we want. And there's no limit, right? There's no – just the insanity of these people, for God's sakes. She is hot, though. So I'd point that out. Her brother's a little intimidating. You would find this – I don't know if you saw this, Belle, because you being a music connoisseur.
What?
Dude bought some tapes, some reel-to-reel, old-school reel-to-reel. From like the 70s, like late 60s.
They're like at a garage sale or something?
It was like an estate sale.
Oh, okay.
So, and he was going to record it like a church orchestra thing. But he goes, before I record over him, I just kind of want to listen to him. So he goes in, puts him in the oven overnight because he doesn't want the gunk to get on it and kind of warms him up and stuff. And then he fires it up. And the first one's a disco thing with Luther Vandross. I mean, this is way back in the day. The second tape he listens to, it's Bowie recording Young Americans. And practicing and doing, and there's all kinds, I guess, new Bowie stuff on it.
Was this 2-inch tape or is this mixed down stuff?
No, it's 2-inch tape. It's not mixed down. None of it is, and it's him discussing, we should do this, we should try this, and it's like, whoa. The thing is, apparently, the battle has already begun of can't sell it. He owns it because it's his.
Well, he owns the tape.
Yeah.
He doesn't own those performances.
Yeah, that's just it. And who does is the thing. And they're telling me you're not allowed to play it for anybody, which would be baloney because I'd play for everybody. But it's not mixed down. So that's the other thing. But there are tunes on there that were never, ever heard that are new.
There is, if you look on the back of any music recording, there's always the C for copyright. And then there's a letter P in a circle, and that's the performance ownership.
Yeah.
And most of the time, if a record label pays your band to record a record, they own those masters. They own those versions of the songs that you recorded for them.
But I don't even know who owns all of Bowie's stuff. Do you know, Ken, who owns Bowie's stuff today?
I have no idea.
It would probably be EMI.
Yeah. Or do you think?
Yeah.
Because, they all sell that stuff nowadays.
Well, it's to be honest, I would be shocked if somebody like Bowie's if Bowie's masters were not in the hands of the record label, unless there was somewhere along the line they decided to sell them back to him.
So there's songs that we've never heard.
Yep,
that are done and ready to go out.
Well, yeah, he sung all the parts and certain things, so there could be stuff on there you could easily put together, kind of like they did with the Beatles a few years ago. You just never know, kids, what you find at a garage sale or something. Coming up next hour, we're gonna do something fun. Something new. We're going to try it. I think you guys will like it. We'll have more on TikTok, a bunch of other stuff as well. It's going to be cold out there for us as well as the president. So Ken's got all the latest on that and as well as Tick to the Talk. It's Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
2 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we're headed into the deep freeze here in Middle Tennessee. Give you the timeline during the full forecast in 5 minutes. TikTok's lawyer says the app could go dark on Sunday now that the U.S. Supreme Court decided today to uphold the law that bans it unless its Chinese parent company divests, and Americans are speaking out.
Everybody's being watched. We use the phones every day. We sign up for everything. We use the emails for everything. We sign up for everything. So we're being observed 24/7. Like, it doesn't make any sense to us.
Republican U.S. Senator Josh Hawley told reporters this morning that President Trump can delay any implementation for 90 days with an executive order, and he expects that will happen to extend negotiations. President-elect Trump says he's moving Inauguration Day prayers and speeches and is swearing in inside the U.S. Capitol Rotunda on Monday because of freezing temperatures in the 20s and teens and single-digit wind chills forecast for D.C. Trump says he will join everyone outside for the parade, and the rally at Capital One Arena will still go on. A surge in respiratory and stomach illnesses putting pressure on hospitals nationwide. Dave Packer.
A quademic of COVID-19, flu, RSV, and norovirus is overwhelming hospitals nationwide with emergency rooms nearing full capacity. CDC data showing low vaccination rates for flu, RSV, and COVID, while norovirus cases have hit a 6-year high. Doctors urging prevention measures like vaccines, masks, and hand washing.
American Express to pony up hundreds of millions of dollars in penalties for deceptive practices targeting small businesses. Tell us about that one, Dave.
American Express has agreed to a $230 million settlement over allegations of deceptive practices targeting small businesses. The Justice Department accused the company of falsifying records, misrepresenting credit rewards, and misleading customers about tax benefits. Amex says it addressed those issues years ago.
Right now in California, Alex Stone says there's another large fire. Now, it's unrelated to the Southern California wildfires. It's in a lithium battery storage plant.
It's the world's largest battery storage plant that's been burning since Thursday. Firefighters are monitoring it, and about 1,500 people are evacuated. Highway 1 is closed down in Monterey County. The plant is owned by a Texas energy company and consists of tens of thousands of lithium batteries. The fire is expected to stay contained to the concrete building the batteries are burning in, but there's little firefighters can do to put it out.
A jury says CNN libeled a U.S. Navy veteran who helped get people out of Afghanistan during the Taliban takeover in 2021. Zachary Williams says during Jake Tapper, his face was on screen during a story about a black market of smuggling out desperate Afghans for up to $10,000. But Williams says he didn't charge individual Afghans, rather sought out sponsors who paid the fee and then actually rescued 22 people. But he says CNN never mentioned it. The jury recommends $5 million to Young and punitive damage, which will be dealt with later. CNN says it shouldn't have used the phrase black market, but stands by its reporting. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
AC/DC will not be performing this weekend. That'd be awesome, though.
That'd be something.
If you guys were being inaugurated. So Monday comes, Bell's president of the world. Again, he's lonely Bell. But what are you rolling with? Like, who's the band you want there, man?
ABBA. Got to have my ABBA reunion.
God, that would be pretty awesome. I wonder if you could get him to come back.
I mean, no, they wouldn't do it. They have no interest in playing
But
live.
this is your dream, though.
Right.
So your dream. ABBA. All right, Ken, who are you going with?
I know Dusty's no longer with us, but I'd go with Billy, Frank, and somebody to fill in for Dusty, so ZZ Top.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It's his old roadie. That's the bass player.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Elwood.
Okay.
Yeah, but he had been
Elwood
with
Blue.
He had been with the band for a long time. He had been Dusty's tech, and now he's the bass player.
Oh, that's cool.
I'd take that. Or right now, I'm really into War on Drugs, so I'd probably do War on Drugs.
There you go.
Oh, would you stop it? We both know Cannibal Corpse is going to come into play
them
somewhere.
too.
That'd be awesome. Gwar. If you guys have never seen Gwar, it is. They are just crazy. They dress up like just. It's like, you know what it reminds me of?
It's like cartoons come to life.
It's like watching the things the Power Rangers would have fought, but without the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
That would be great. When does that happen? Right? Where's that president where we're going to get like, I can't believe this. And we went from these things being Fleetwood Mac and stuff like this to all of a sudden, here comes.
Well, it's like you and I were talking with the boss yesterday about, we're using Master of Puppets as our end of hour music.
Yeah.
35, 40 years ago, it would be like, oh, no, that's just way too heavy. We can't be playing Metallica in the middays. And now people listen to it and go, Master of Puppets, of course. No big deal.
It's going to be you're going to be your walk-up music when you're the president?
No, I'll go back to the Superman theme.
Ooh, for that, I would use Walk by Pantera.
Oh,
all right. Good
look at
choice.
that.
Good
You look
choice.
like you could be in Pantera, by the way, Ken.
You know what? I do
Ever been
not
shot?
I do not have the pipes of Phil Anselmo.
No.
I wouldn't even try.
Nobody does.
But I'd hang out with him.
Little Iron Maiden. Run to
yes.
the hills.
50th anniversary tour this year.
God, think about that. Eddie they're all starting to look like Eddie. You guys
It's
know.
getting difficult to tell when the mascot's on stage.
Yeah.
Well, and Nico retired.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's done playing drums.
Yeah, he had a stroke it was the beginning of last year.
Did he have a
wasn't it?
stroke?
Yeah, he had a stroke, and
Oh,
he said he could only he got to about 70%. Then his recovery started slowing down, and he got back to about 80, and he just doesn't feel like he can play up to the standard anymore.
Man.
No, that sucks. That sucks. When you see
But
stuff
the guy they have playing drums for them now, outfield. He was the drummer in the outfield.
Oh, cool.
Really?
Yes.
Very nice.
Interesting.
And he also works with Steve Harris in a band called British Lion.
There you go. Listen to that. Bell knows his stuff.
I'm telling you, he does.
He does. I mean, ladies, he knows his stuff. That's all I'm telling you guys. But you guys know that you text him stuff anyways. No more TikTok, at least for now. People are freaking out about it. They're angry, and I understand why. First of all, my wife, 4 this morning. Anything about TikTok yet? I'm like, why are you up? I said, can't sleep. I said, okay. No, nothing yet. Nothing yet. So TikTok today, they said, nah, it's over. It's done with. We're upholding everything because that's the right thing to do based on the law. And that's what we're basing this on. Remember, these people passed a law where everybody got on board and said, oh, my God, bipartisan, we should not have this thing on people's phones. This thing's a lost leader. Oh, and they're worried about the spying. That's the big thing. And I'm going to tell you why don't care about that. Don't care about that. But the Supreme Court got all the way up there and they said, nah.
The unanimous ruling upholds Sunday's divestiture deadline. The High Court says Congress's fears about the national security risks of the app's Chinese ownership are well supported, with the particular concern that China could use TikTok to collect Americans' data. President-elect Trump has vowed to save the app, but with this ruling, all 3 branches of government have now spoken in support of the divestiture deadline. And the law says a one-time 90-day extension can only be granted if there's a sale already in the works.
And there doesn't seem to be. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't, and it doesn't mean they can't pause it as far as the use of TikTok over the next couple of days. They have not fired or let go anybody at TikTok. And I find it hard to believe they're not going to come up with something. You're not going to let something worth $200+ billion disappear. That isn't going to happen. But you do have to come up with something. But while everybody's worried about them spying on us, which I myself don't care about. I know that sounds weird. They're spying on us anyways. Well, we shouldn't give them a backdoor. That's done. And it's already been done. You don't think that the people have downloaded everything? That thing's already through inside implanted somewhere if they really do have that. And of course they probably do. It's the stuff that happens on TikTok that you should pay attention to. First, the algorithm is amazing. It's why people make money, but it is the most important part of this.
But I think that part of why TikTok has been valuable to me, also part of why TikTok is a security concern, is that the algorithm is so good. It has helped me find an audience who's interested in what I'm posting.
Which is an important part of this. The algorithm. So without the algorithm, if they were to sell it, it's worth $40 billion. With the algorithm, $200 to $300 billion. All you care about is the algorithm. Nothing else matters. That's why they've guarded it as a military secret. Absolutely. And it's funny, somebody said, well, you don't care about it. No, I don't. And I'll tell you why I don't care. Because we have Temu. We have like 50 other apps that we've all downloaded that are Chinese-based. You don't think they can get in that way? We're not going today. Let's get this. The influence is what matters, not the spying on you from behind. They're already spying on you. Just like we're, I hope, spying on them. It's the influence. You get people like this who are angry and mad and stuff, and China's way better than we are. You should look at it.
The government has been lying to us about China for decades. Now that we've all gotten on Red Note and we can see the lifestyle that all of the Chinese people have, a lot of us Americans are pissed. The price of going out to eat, the price of groceries, public transportation, and the people on Red Note are so flabbergasted that we have to work 2 jobs just to keep our roof over our head. U.S. government, you up big time, which is not a surprise because you do it constantly. Even if TikTok gets banned, I've seen enough. I have been woken up.
She has been woken up. Well, what are you woken up to? Simple. How great China is. Because China is amazing. China is incredible. China does all these things for its people, and they're all smiling and happy.
I grew up fed propaganda that China is evil and that they treat their citizens like shit. American culture, American society is toxic, gross, poisonous. They poison our food. They jack the prices up of everything. We don't get health care. We don't get good public transportation, even though we're all on the same continent. We destroy the planet for money, power, and control. Our government is funky as on the left and on the right. This is a class war, and I will not be giving this fight up.
It's not a class war, but the influence it has on society, we've never seen anything like it. Facebook, Instagram, remember, Instagram is, they just put Reels in a few years ago. Why was that? Because TikTok came along and kicked their ass, destroyed them. So they threw that in. Instagram was pictures, right? It was like a better Pinterest. Then comes TikTok. Facebook got a little political and got a little bit older. But this came along and changed everything. And it is the influence that it's able to spread that is the real issue, not the spying stuff. Because there's so many other apps out there, and everybody's flocking to Red Note. Red Note, by the way, is owned by the Chinese Communist Party. Lemon 8, which is the other one people are flocking to, that's Lemon with an 8, is owned by ByteDance. Those will soon be banned. If you're not going to ban one and then not ban them all. And then you've got the pushback because of the disdain that people have now for Elon Musk, because of the disdain that people have for Zuckerberg, everybody's going to do everything in their power to not go to any of the things they have. And quite frankly, TikTok is Twitter's not set up like a TikTok thing. TikTok is great. Interface is easy. It's lots of fun. It's updated all the time. There's a reason it's addictive. So Twitter, people aren't going to go to Twitter and do TikTok stuff. And the reason that stuff like is on Instagram in a lot of ways is because a lot of people will post it one place and it'll go to all the places. But they're going to post it first on TikTok. And that is the influence it has and the strength it has comparatively to all of the other things. Small business, people making tons of money on it, who are doing stuff that isn't crazy. Somebody asked me yesterday, oh, well, show me where the old people are making money. I sent her an article from the New York Times. You got a 70-year-old who's making tons of money. People with hundreds of thousands of followers who are making tons of money, not expecting to. Their influence is big.
And now they're panicking that their part of their revenue stream is about to go away, and they've got to have the other socials be able to make up for it.
Well, there's no doubt about that. See, some of them have done well to cross over. So they've planted the seed for the last several months that this may happen, and they've made sure that people find them elsewhere. But a lot of people, it doesn't translate well.
All the creators I know that are are on the app, we're freaking out a little bit. We all have pretty big followings on other platforms, thank goodness. But it's pretty stressful because I know some people make a pretty good living. I know I've made a pretty good living off of this app, and it has financially supported me for a few years now. I mean, a lot of people turned to it when the world was not so great back in 2020. And I think that's why it feels like a big sense of community.
Like I said yesterday, if you're, you could be 45 or 50. My wife follows this woman, and she's in her 50s, and she started posting stuff for fun, like most people do. They didn't expect for this thing to be, going anywhere. And a few years later, she doesn't have a normal job anymore. Her job is that. And she posts stuff, and she's got agents, and she gets tons of money from, just one or two posts here and there. It is, again, it didn't start out that way. But it has grown in such a way. But the influence it has on college kids, go see what happened with the protest in Palestine. The way that it can really move a situation is tremendous. And we saw that with the Arab Spring, not with TikTok, but with other things through Facebook and stuff. The Arab Spring started because social media took off. That's why they fight it so hard over there. Hong Kong, they don't want anybody to have this if there could be an influence that's negative on China. China's TikTok celebrates China, celebrates achievement of kids in school. Ours numbs the mind, and it's fun. And yes, people can make money on it, but they can also divide us. And that's what they use it for. And then, of course, this guy's just upset because the old people are ruining everything.
This is all a ploy by senior citizens that run our government to make us believe that they know better than us, when the reality is the world doesn't necessarily align with their boomer opinions. If this goes through, you're going to see a lot of these politicians that voted for this get voted out of office upon the next cycle. I lose, almost 370,000 followers. But I don't think it matters. Like, those people are not going to stop watching vertical video. I don't think anything's going to happen. I think it's all a dog and pony show.
Well, it's not a dog and pony show, and it's happened. And so on Sunday, the app, in theory, will not be offered anymore on Apple or Google. If you have a VPN, you can kind of get around some of these things. On top of that, what you have on yours will be there. It should take you to a site, but nobody really knows what's going to happen. But while everybody's talking about the backdoor in and that they can do all of these kind of things, focus on the propaganda. And it doesn't have to be pro-China. It can be anti-American. It can divide us between Palestine and Israel or Russia and Ukraine. It's not just one thing. It can be about the fires and disinformation and insanity there. It's not just one thing. All right, coming up, got some more fun stuff. Some anger still with Ken and bacon. If you guys haven't heard, Ken hates bacon, apparently. That's what everybody thinks. That's not true.
Oh, bless your heart.
Yes, we'll talk a little bit about what's going on Monday. I heard there's something happening in D.C. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Birch gold. There's gold in them there hills. Now, what do you do with gold, Chad? Why would I want gold? It's awesome. That's why. Let me tell you what. First and foremost, the dollar, not as strong as it could be. We're going in time. We got tariffs, inflation potential to go up. There's a lot of stuff that could happen. Uncertainty. Birch wants to help you out with that. And why gold? in this market is important for you, for your portfolio, for your retirement, to protect yourself, to hedge yourself in the case of what if. They're going to send you out the ultimate guide to gold in the Trump era, forward done by Don Jr. Top of that, they're going to get you an investor's kit, and they're going to just show you the things that basically you might want to know about if you've been curious. And with Birch, no hard pressure sales, none of that stuff. Text the word Benson to 989898 today. When you do, they get you out the investor kit, talk about what you can do with your retirement, your 401k, your IRA, how you can roll them all over. It is easy and simple to do. And like I say, no hard sell whatsoever. Don't mess around in this market and this environment. Why don't you find out what it's all about? Because you've probably been curious before. Text the word Benson to 989898 today.
Still seeing road work here, westbound South Loop downtown at 2nd Avenue. That is blocking the left lane. Then over by the Metro Center, we've got a crash on the right shoulder, 65 northbound past Rosa Parks Boulevard. And then Glencliff, a crash blocking the left 2 lanes, 40 westbound after Spence Lane. It's been a deadly day in Nashville traffic. We'll tell you about that. And the CEO of TikTok is out with a video. We'll let you hear what he says at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Which, by the way, the CEO will be at the inauguration, and he'll be indoors.
It'll be the first time in 40 years that an inauguration will be held indoors. President-elect Trump says taking the oath on the west front of the Capitol would expose law enforcement, police dogs, and his supporters to dangerous conditions. Temperatures here Monday aren't expected to top the mid-20s, and the wind is going to make it feel like about 10 degrees. In lieu of a parade down Pennsylvania Avenue, Trump says he'll appear at D.C.'s Capital One Arena, the same venue where he's set to hold a pre-inauguration rally on Sunday.
Did he say in lieu of a parade?
Play it again.
Hold on. Wait, hold on a second.
In lieu of a parade down Pennsylvania Avenue.
So there's not going to be a parade now?
Apparently not. I have a quick question, though.
Go for it, brother.
I just totally forgot my question.
Was it about TikTok and the CEO?
Yeah, the CEO. The CEO is going to put, he put a video out. Did he put it out on TikTok?
I'm sure he did.
You'll have to wait and see.
Oh, man.
We'll have to wait and listen.
Ken's always teasing me.
That's because Ken hates bacon.
No, he doesn't hate bacon. He just loves turkey bacon, so we have to chastise him.
He's such a pig.
He is. I brought this up earlier, and I asked the guys, Because there's a report out. Take a listen.
Could some of your favorite breakfast staples be detrimental to your brain health? A new study published in the journal Neurology says people who eat more processed red meat have a higher chance of developing dementia. The study's author, Dr. Daniel Wen, told CBS News,
"We've found very consistent evidence that higher processed red meat intake is associated with higher risk of dementia."
Dementia. So I said earlier, if you have a choice, right, you get another basically, 25, 30 years. Pretty much great health. You get to 80, you go to sleep one night, you never wake up. But you can't have bacon. Or you can eat bacon, you live to 75, and probably the last couple of years, things aren't going so well. Maybe a little angry and a little bit, out of step with life. And see, Ken and I, because we know the love of a good woman.
Yeah.
We said, we got kids, we like them. Grandkids one day maybe. Yeah, I could do without the bacon for that. And, of course, Bell, he's like, no, give me the bacon, man. I don't care. But you said, well, I could do turkey bacon.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a turkey burger?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not bad. I mean, you got to put stuff on it.
Yeah. Isn't it? It's always like that. Okay, it's pretty good, but you got to put so much stuff on it, you forget you're eating whatever it is. I mean, that's the whole thing with some of that stuff. And with bacon, again, this is about cured bacon. Some people are like, it's not red meat, it's cured bacon. So, which is what you really want with the bacon, but it's cured bacon. And we have so much crap in this stuff. Yeah, I could see that we could, this could lead to certain things.
Now, was that study paid for by Tyson?
No, I don't think. No.
Okay.
No, it wasn't paid for. They're looking because there's been a lot of talk this week about the food. We got rid of red dye number 3 because of the potential of who knows what.
Yeah.
You got to think about all the stuff that's going on with the rise of cancers and women and things of that nature. And I think people, oddly enough, for all of the craziness that people talk about with RFK Jr. and look, some of the stuff, I know you guys, people may love him, but he says some wacky stuff. I love that's like one of my great voices that I do. I know that things are happening right now that we can't stop. It's not very nice, Jen. But it was funny, though. But he's some of that stuff. I mean, the guy's yoked and ripped. Who wouldn't want it? Like, look at how great he looks. And, yeah, he eats healthy. But it's all about the crap we put in our foods, and we don't really pay attention to it. We don't. And now they want to put the warning labels on the front. So if you go to get like Fruit Loops, on the front of it, it's going to tell you all the crap that's in the Fruit Loops.
It's like the Dennis Leary bit where he's talking about the warning labels on cigarette packs.
Yeah.
It's like you can make the entire front of the pack the warning label, and we're still going to break into your house to get the money to buy the cigarettes.
Exactly it. Understand that, people. If people want it, they'll get it, and they'll figure out a way to do it. See drugs, right? They don't need to have a warning label on drugs, but everybody knows how bad they can be. People still do it, and then people do weird stuff to try to get money for it.
Well, it's going to be a run on those nicotine patches if the FDA follows through with cutting nicotine and smoke tobacco by 95%.
And that is on the patches too, right? Is that what we're hearing?
No, the patches won't be cut. Yeah,
okay.
They're going to leave the patches and vapes alone.
Okay.
But apparently it's the combustible tobacco.
Yeah.
Where they're going to cut it by 95%. I mean, that'd be like drinking non-alcoholic beer.
Oh, that's just silly, right? Having
What's
turkey
the
bacon.
point? Good callback. Very good callback.
Coming up, we're going to have a little fun. I got some Majorca stuff, and we're going to do something that is interesting because there's a lot of people out there with TDS, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, make fun of some of those people. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
.2:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We're heading into the deep freeze, Middle Tennessee. Got the timeline for you during the full forecast in 5 minutes. It's been a deadly day in Nashville traffic. At least one person died, another person seriously injured in that car that rolled over and blocked the I-40 exit ramp at McCrory Lane this morning. CEO of TikTok, Shu Chu, released a video today ahead of Sunday when it might go dark.
I want to thank President Trump for his commitment to work with us to find a solution that keeps TikTok available in the United States.
President-elect Trump has vowed to save the app, but with the U.S. Supreme Court ruling today, all three branches of government have spoken in support of this divestiture deadline. And the law says a one-time 90-day extension can be granted only if there's a sale already in the works. It's being called a quademic. The CDC says 4 viruses are spreading fast across the U.S. COVID-19, flu, RSV, and norovirus. Hospital emergency rooms crowded, many reporting long wait times. Norovirus cases hitting their highest levels in 6 years. COVID, flu, and RSV tests showing elevated positivity rates. Doctors urging people to consider virtual visits or urgent care before heading to packed emergency rooms. And they say you should talk to your doctor about getting vaccinated. A new warning from the FDA for the makers of raw pet food. It comes after animals were infected with bird flu.
Raw pet food is under scrutiny after bird flu sickened several cats last month. The FDA now requiring manufacturers using unpasteurized poultry or cattle materials to revise their food safety plans. Cats in 4 states, including California and Oregon, becoming ill after eating contaminated food. 1 cat died. There have already been recalls of some raw pet products. The FDA noting dogs can also get infected with bird flu, but seem less vulnerable to severe illness.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com. Go there and get a free Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens. You're saying, what's Rough Greens, Chad? I hear you talk about it. It is a supplement. You know, we talk about eating right. Well, dogs and cats, they don't eat right either. I mean, that stuff that we give them, most of it's just shelf stable, even if we think we're getting really good stuff. Green is good. Brown usually is bad. Rough Greens will help with your cat and your dog because they have meow greens. All you do is sprinkle the supplement on top of it. It's a powder supplement, comes in a bag. Sprinkle it on top of it and watch what happens. It's going to help with their aches, their pains, and their joints, their skin, their fur, their if they've got issues with their teeth and their gums, digestive tract. It's awesome. Vitamins, minerals, fruits, vegetables, omega-3, 6, 9, all this incredible stuff packed into these amazing supplements, powerful for your animals. Try a Jumpstart trial bag for free today. It's not going to cost you anything but shipping. It's a $20 value. You get it for free. Just cover the cost of shipping. ruffgreens.com. Use my code, Chad. Ruffgreens.com, code Chad. Ruffgreens.com, code Chad. Hold on here. I'm watching a little TikTok. I am
Get it in while you can.
Getting in the fun while we can. Went through a Colin Cowherd clip there really quick. I like Colin. Then on to some girl, the tennis player, Sabrina dancing. She's not very good at this. She's great at tennis. Awful dancer. You would think you could be better at dancing because you're that good at tennis. But no, you're not. You're not close to that. We're going to do something new here, something fun, because, well, Donald Trump is going to be president of the United States on Monday. It's going to be indoors. A reminder, we're going to have it all day. So Brian is there. Not quite sure what the setup's going to look like because everything is shifted. Everything now is indoors. So no more parade. And they're going to do everything at the beginning, what they normally do, the swearing in and the speeches inside of the rotunda. And then they're going to go over to the Capital One Center, whatever it's called, and they're going to do everything from there. And then the balls happen later on. So everything's indoors because it's going to be cold. It's going to be like 20, but you've got the wind chill. And as we all know, wind sucks. It's just awful. So that is going to drop it down big time. And there's no way is what they're saying. So going to be indoors. So, but that being said, Trump is going to be president. And it's time to bring you an episode of...
It's now time for another episode of Trump Derangement Syndrome.
That's right. Once a week, we're going to do this. Thank you very much. Thank you. Little Trump Derangement Syndrome. People who've lost their mind because he is the president of the United States, and they just can't fathom that.
Guys, how do you feel about the lot of us, blue voters, filing, I don't know if it would be a civil suit or a class action suit against Donald Trump and his minions for the stress and the anxiety and the effects on our mental health and physical health and well-being, along with the suffering of our relationships that Donald Trump has caused us.
So she wants to file a lawsuit because Donald Trump and the minions have upset her to the point where she can't handle it anymore. It's too much for her, people. It's too much. Sir, what do you have to say?
So are you guys heading to the Trump victory rally on January 19th? You know who else had a victory rally back in 1933? Schmittler. Just so fun that in 2025, we can still make connections and find similarities between 1930s Germany and America today.
So Trump having a rally because he won an historic victory somehow connects him to the man you're speaking about because he also had rallies. I said it back to you in hopes that you realize how ridiculous that sounds. But I'll play along. Joe Biden has a dog. You want to know who else had a dog? Joseph Stalin.
And Hitler, by the way, who also had a dog.
German Shepherd.
Blondie was her name. By the way, we were talking about it earlier, but we didn't get a chance because we were running a little bit behind. They found a day-by-day diary of pre-start of World War II all the way through almost to the end, all done by hand by Hitler.
Where'd they find that?
I don't know. Somebody's had it. So they're going to, I think they're going to release it.
That would be amazing from an historical aspect.
Well, that's the whole thing, just to get what's in his mind.
What's he thinking every day? Oh, hey, we finally reached 3 million Jews slaughtered. Here's my thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, does he even aware of how bad things are going on the front line? Is he aware of any of that stuff? Is he delusional, thinking everybody's going to come to his side eventually?
Are they telling him the truth about what's happening, or is he being fed a line?
That's it. See, so, and, because Trump and Hitler are like, Hitler, they're the same, right? Like, in a liberal
Trump
mind,
is literally Hitler.
Yeah. Actually, the book is called The Art of the Deal. So the book is, no, it's not, Chad. More of Trump Derangement Syndrome.
Go ahead, MAGA. Admit it. When you see California burning, you're like, yeah. You know why I know that? Because every time I hear a hurricane's coming or a big-ass tornado, I always say, please, please, let it only hit the white trailer courts, especially the ones with the Dixie flag. So, yeah, at least I'm not afraid to admit it.
She sounds pleasant.
She does. She's fantastic. But you listen to that right there. The insanity of that. I want you. She's actively wishing for people to die in that situation. Huffington, I think it might have been the Atlantic, the Huffington Post did an article. Well, a lady did like an op-ed about her moving out to basically from like a California blue state to a very red state. And they thought, it's good for the kids, the fresh air and stuff, get out of the city. It's cheaper. They're going to live a better life. But they thought, everybody's going to hate us because we're Biden people. Nobody's Biden people. You know what I mean? You're a blue voter. And she said it was all the opposite. The way they treated him was amazing. The way when they had some serious issues with cars and certain things like that, she said, who came to help? It was our neighbors who were all MAGA voters. They never asked any questions. They never taught. They came. Because that stuff right there, when you hear people like that, it's delusional. The anger that you have it's amazing. And again, the group of tolerance is rarely as tolerant as you think. Some more from Trump derangement syndrome.
I just got a comment from another Trump supporter on the other app, and he's like, you shouldn't say that you hate us. It's wrong to hate Trump people just because of who they voted for. And I'm like, no, I hate you. It's true hatred. I know that I hate you. And it's wrong to hate people for who they voted for. I know that. That's why I have such a hard time being around people in my own family who I know voted for Donald Trump, because I do hate them as much as I hate him. Yeah, you can call it Trump derangement syndrome if you want to. I just call it hatred, pure and simple. And I'm not going to spiritually bypass this. I hate you if you voted for Donald Trump. You disgust me as a human being if you voted for Donald Trump.
A lot of people to hate. Over half the country.
Again, that's somebody who is living in a world of so caught up in emotions, so caught up in this anger. I'm fascinated by that. Look, I want Trump to succeed. People say, well, what if he would have lost? And he would have lost, and we would have moved on with our lives. And by the way, everybody who thought that the world was coming to an end, that's not true. Everybody who would have thought that America wasn't going to exist, not true. And by the way, the people on the left out there who think that we're never going to have an election again, you're an idiot. We're going to have an election in 4 years.
Are we still on track for the concentration camps, though?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Absolutely. I've been working on those. I got to get back to it. It was just been so
busy. What's going on, man? Yeah, it's
well, I got the nets to catch the women, as you do. Because that's what's going to happen on Monday at noon. It's a free-for-all, guys. Do whatever you want, because apparently, but only if you're a white male. And you got to be a Christian. And you got to be straight. Or else. More from Trump derangement syndrome.
We've honestly just been playing this Trump thing all wrong. Like, he's seriously just such a pick-me little bitch that just wants people that he thinks are important to like him. I don't think he actually has any strong beliefs about policies or politics at all. He's just a straight-up narcissist that craves adulation. And the reason he went so psychotically far right is because those are the people that embraced him. And the people that he wanted to embrace him, the New York elite, laughed him out of the room. They thought he was a tacky clown and wouldn't give him the time of day.
What? It's funny that they wouldn't give him the time of day, but then he ends up president, and look, they have an issue with that.
That part about New York, Trump had some issues in New York with some of the people, because Trump is not. Trump is more carry your, lunch pail to work than the upper crust. There's no doubt. And there's no doubt that, Trump wants people to like him because he likes that. But he also likes to try to win them back over. For him, it's a game. But this hate you have for everybody is tremendous. More from this guy in Trump derangement syndrome.
So his entire political career is a social vendetta against the people that laughed at him. The same thing is true with his crusade against the media, like the liberal Democrats at the New York Times that look down their noses at him. They bruise his ego, and so he hates everyone like them. But he could be so easily manipulated. Like, if you just gave in to his thirst for approval and his need for adulation, you could get any policy you wanted out of him, because he doesn't give a about policy. He just wants to be worshipped.
Worshipped, he says. Are you kidding me? worshipped. How about one more from Trump derangement syndrome?
Like, that's why he wants to save TikTok, obviously. Like, he hated TikTok before, and then people liked him on TikTok, and suddenly it's his favorite thing in the world. But instead, the left makes fun of him, looks down on him, caricatures him, talks about him, and so it makes him hate everyone and everything to do with the left. He could be a leftist if you just kiss his ass.
Well, apparently you didn't do a good enough job kissing his ass to keep him from being a Republican.
There you go. No, he looked around. He thought, common sense says it's this. That's what common sense says it is. And that's so much of what he has a populism that is common sense. And I don't even want to call it conservative because it's not really conservative. You know, conservative, you know, we think of conservative certain things like Reagan. It's not like that. It's not. But that being said, this disdain for Trump and the way that these people act, and they take to the interwebs to do this, and it's hilarious. And people keep asking me, where do you get all these? Well, TikTok is one of them. And you'd be surprised how many of people that follow me will send me stuff who can't stand me because they're idiots. I don't care they don't like me, but you know I'm on the radio and do stuff like this, so they're going to get played. And the other thing is, too, if you ever want to have fun, go look at the comments when people do this. It's not even about what they're saying. Because I think some of these people really think, well, everybody's going to get behind me because I'm super blue. And they're destroyed in the comments. Like, it's hilarious, actually. So that was an episode of Trump Derangement Syndrome. All right, coming up, we're going to wrap up the show. Matt's going to come on in here. I just saw him. I guess he is showing up today. We were unsure, but he's here. So we're going to talk to him straight ahead and wrap up the show straight ahead. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. We're live looking to see who's going to be at the ginormous inauguration party. Nelly, Jason Aldean, Kid Rock, and Billy Ray Cyrus.
Nelly's going to be there?
Yeah.
I didn't know Billy Ray was still alive.
Snoop Dogg is headlining the first ever crypto ball.
What does that mean? Crypto ball.
Well, it's going to be like one of the, like after the
I got crypto balls in college
After
once.
the parties of the Oscars, you want to go to the Chanel party. It's the crypto party.
Oh, okay.
So that's what it's going to be. And Snoop Dogg's going to be there. So the fact that he's showing up.
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
Good for them. That's awesome.
It was 4 years ago.
It's going to be crazy.
8 years
and
ago,
cold.
it was like, no, he couldn't get anybody to show up, really, as far as like stars. Yeah, big stars.
I like the there are a number of theories going around. I heard you talking about, the one, is something's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Barack Obama wouldn't be there. They wouldn't kill their star if something was going to happen. Oh, Nancy Pelosi knows something. Michelle Obama knows something. Whatever.
Nancy knows that Jill will tip her over.
No doubt. No doubt.
That's the real reason she's not showing up.
And, I think the other conspiracy theory I heard was that Donald Trump's doing this so he doesn't have to justify his crowd size. And I said to someone online earlier, the real crowd size I was worried about? November 5th.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that crowd size.
Yeah. Nah, nobody
Whatever.
cares. Nobody shows up. I don't care if you don't even do it.
Trump cares, but any other than that.
Yeah, he does. I mean,
Chad,
again, it was
did you know that Matt got invited to the State of the Union, the State of the Union?
Oh, you did?
He's actually
I've been to the State of the Union.
He called Nancy's seat, so therefore, by rule, that's his seat now.
That's right. I did call because when Nancy said she wasn't coming, I said I call it. I want her seat, so I get to go to the inauguration if I want to. But I've been to the State of the Union.
Yeah, I got invited to the State of the Union, and I said,
say no?
It's a hard no.
So I went. I don't know. I would do it again if it were a Republican or somebody that I respected. This was Obama's last year in 2016, and my man Mo Brooks from Alabama invited me. And you go through. I tell people. I mean, it is an insane. It's the most security I've ever been through.
Yeah.
It is. We went through 4 different checkpoint levels. And I was coming from Mo Brooks's office. And so if you're a congressman, you got a little pin, you get to go around the checkpoint, and then they put you through the checkpoint. You can't have cell phones. I was sitting like 4 seats down from Michael Keaton.
Nice. See, now, if you want to invite me to something like that, invite me to the designated survivor party.
Now, that will be cool.
I would do that.
The best thing I've ever done in the United States Capitol, though, was
plant bombs.
No,
sure, with a buffalo on your head.
No, we were there. I was there for it was when Alabama was playing Clemson in the national championship.
Yeah.
So it was in January. It was around the same time. And some of the Alabama and South Carolina delegations put together a watch party in the in a room right off of the old school rotunda.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, it was the old school chamber, actually. Yeah. Where you can go and see, Abraham Lincoln sat here, and you can whisper here and hear it over there. And that was cool, watching all of these congressmen go crazy over their respective
Best time
teams.
I ever had there was sneaking women in and out underneath of the Capitol.
In the tunnels?
In the tunnels. For Bill Clinton. That was pretty fun.
Kennedy did it first.
Yeah,
it was nice.
That's why I built them. You guys don't understand, so I was very busy.
I've been in those bathtubs, though.
Have you?
Those are nice. The little marble bathtubs the senators used to use. I'm not kidding. I'm not making it up. They're underneath the Capitol.
It's funny, though. You're like, I've been in bathtubs.
Fancy bathtubs.
You're
man.
a fancy kind of guy.
Hey, so do you do these things that I love the pranks? Do you do? So apparently Jeff Malinoff doesn't understand how radio works. KGB works in the mornings with Dan Manis, Natural's Morning News. He apparently doesn't understand how radio works. And so Mr. Malinoff, Mr. Snooty Pants, has some coffee made in the room. Have you seen this, Weaver?
Yes, and I thought the same thing.
So have you seen what I did to it?
No, I didn't see that.
He put the coffee made up there, and he put a little Post-it note with his name on it. It says Jeff Malinoff on there.
Yeah.
And I just put a little note underneath it. It says, I spit in this, Matt Murphy.
Oh, was he angry?
Yesterday.
No, I just did it. So let's find out.
Let's find out.
He'll see it on Sunday.
Whatever. Have you met Jeff Malinoff?
I have met Jeff.
Do we really care if he's angry or not?
No, we do not.
No.
We do not.
I mean, if you got mad,
we love KGB.
I feel like you're wiry. You can get on me.
I got to be honest, Jeff. I'm not scared of you. Right?
Please be nice to Jeff.
He's a good
I don't
guy.
need him leaving.
I'm opening I have a question, and it's inspired by you, Chad Benson.
I like that.
You were talking about TikTok and the number of people that are freaking out about TikTok. Will you venture a guess? Is it fair to say that Facebook was the first big social media platform?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, there were a few of them
There
before
was
then.
Friendster, then MySpace,
Yeah, right,
but
sure.
nothing like
You
Facebook.
remember when Facebook became a thing?
Yeah.
Can you recall the year?
Well, he was in college. It was 2009. But when it became a thing, though, where everybody...
Well, when it became a thing, you're about right, 2009. It was invented in 2005.
or 6.
Right.
But when it became a thing...
2005, it's invented. That's 20 years.
Yes.
20 years. And then everything that came after it. And I have a question from my listeners at 3 o'clock. What do you think would happen in this country if we turned it all off? Every bit of it. If I had an ability, I mean, considering the freak out on TikTok, if I had the ability to, at 4 o'clock this afternoon, flip a switch and all social media goes away.
Let me tell you this. Let's say you do that. People might go, oh, that would be awesome. So does all of the independent people when it comes to news and breaking stuff.
No,
I'm
all of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to explore all of it. It's not. I'm not saying, yay, that's awesome. There's a lot of awesomeness, but...
He's getting rid of us.
How quickly radio stays, by the way.
See what I'm talking about here? He wants a monopoly. That's what it's really all about. It's going to be great. Listen to Matt Murphy straight ahead. You guys have a good weekend. We'll do it again Monday. Super Talk 99.7.